Well, good evening again. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. We're going to go ahead and start the Town Council meeting for Tuesday, November 7th, 2023, right here in the Yucca Valley Community Center Yucca Room. It is now 6:02. We'll call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Council members Abel.
Here.
Droz.
Here.
Lombardo.
Here.
Schooler.
Here.
And Mayor Dennison.
Here. Tonight we're going to please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilmember Merle Abel will lead us, and following, please remain standing. We'll have an invocation by Bishop Jarvie from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So thank you. Please join us.
Thank you. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we've met this evening to discuss the business of the town. We are grateful that we have the associations and relationships that we have here in the town where we can communicate and discuss our differences in an agreeable manner, such as this forum. We ask that thy Spirit rest upon us all, that where there are things to be addressed, they may be addressed, and where there are things that are going well, we can continue to bless our town, our citizens, and our visitors. We offer this prayer in the name of Jesus Christ, our Savior. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Bishop. So tonight, we're going to start off with some presentations for the community.
Mayor and council are super excited this evening to give you the opportunity to meet somebody new to the town's public safety forces. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Lieutenant Al Huff to go ahead and walk through the next introduction.
Good evening, council, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, our fair community here. So this was obviously a project I had been working on for some time since I had been reassigned to the Morongo Basin. And it was kind of unfinished business, and that was to get a canine here. So I conducted months and months of research looking for, you know, the purpose-built dog that we needed up here that could better serve the community. And thanks to the town of Yucca Valley, kind of a collaborative effort between the town of Yucca and the city of 29 Palms, and of course the county, we were able to come up with a pretty good program, pretty good plan. And as you can probably hear, that plan's in motion now. So at this time, I'd like to introduce our new canine handler, Deputy Nate Bacher, and Canine Najee.
I gotta check it. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Deputy Bacher, as Lieutenant Huff already said, and this is Canine Najee. Canine Najee is a 10-month-old bloodhound that we just got her at the beginning of the month, 1st of October, from Florida. So, in case you guys haven't been following us on social media, Canine Najee is a scent detection dog. So, while a lot of people are under the impression that scent detection goes into guns and narcotics and all of the cool, crazy stuff that people see on TV, she actually has a really special job that we're really excited to actually deploy out here in the Morongo Basin for you guys. So Canine Najee's specialty is locating missing persons, critical missings, and the fun part, the suspect recovery stuff. So we get that all-around aspect for you guys, and we're super excited to be able to deploy her. We actually had our first deployment last night out in 29 Palms. Fortunately, the juvenile was located prior to us getting there with the canine, but just to show you, she's so young, she was actually able to confirm that walked trail of that juvenile 3 hours prior. So you guys probably haven't seen us a lot. We've been down in Rancho training with Deputy Hasso and Canine Kiba, and basically what we're doing is we're just trying to just polish her up and get her ready for out here. So here in probably the next 3 or 4 weeks, we will be out here full time, and we're looking forward to serving you guys and getting out there and doing good things. So I appreciate your guys' time. Thank you for letting me speak here tonight, and we look forward to seeing you guys in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. I mean, I can tell both of you are excited. This is wonderful.
Might be appropriate if you and the council would join the deputy handler and Najee for a quick picture up by the podium.
love
That'd be
that.
great.
If you guys see us in town, please say hello. She loves hellos.
We're okay.
Yeah, let's go maybe right behind.
Let's look on in here.
Take her home with you, huh?
Yeah, every day.
That's great.
Good girl.
We practice.
Media star already, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, she's got it.
Yes. Great girl.
Yeah.
You okay to approach the dog?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Hi. You are a pretty girl.
Uh-huh.
She likes that toy, huh? There we go. That's her toy? Her passy?
That's her payday.
Yeah.
What's our expected life expectancy?
Generally, I mean, with good diet habits and taking care of her and looking out for her.
So fun.
Event? Yeah.
She's on that such a good supplement. She'll be good.
Thank you, Lieutenant. That was a very welcome surprise and a new addition to our team.
It was my pleasure. And if I could kind of expand upon her duties a little bit. So in the Morongo Basin, on average, we average approximately 170 missing persons in the Morongo Basin each year. A good majority of them, approximately 42% of those missing persons, are either Alzheimer's patients, pre-dementia patients, or one of the most critical, which was our 10-year-old missing juvenile from last night, she was autistic. So these dogs have a inherent ability to seek out those types of missing persons. So that was one of our big tasks in locating and recovering these people, because we know how many missing persons we have just in this basin each year. So last night we were probably about 2 minutes away from, her first find, but like Deputy Bacher stated, literally we were only minutes behind. Najee actually tracked where the missing juvenile went, and I think if one of the good community members didn't call it in, I think Najee would have ended up being the one with the medal finding the missing juvenile last night. So she's a tremendous asset. Deputy Bacher's a tremendous deputy. Like you said, you're going to see him around town, say hello. But definitely, me personally and Captain Morick, we thank all of you, Curtis, for your strong support with this program. And if we have just one find, the dog has paid for itself 100 times. So, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. I appreciate all the hard work that went into prior to just this moment for you guys to bring her here. And we should have years of great service and a safer community for it.
I have one question, really quick. Will you be coordinating with the national park at all, like missing hikers or anything like that?
Absolutely. We speak with them. Eric, the chief park ranger out there, we meet with him every day. He's been actually waiting to see our new canine, so it's definitely a mutual aid resource. Since we are the county, we also work with the National Park Service. We also work with local law enforcement agencies and whatnot. So, because I know our department itself has worked numerous times with Riverside Sheriffs. They used to have bloodhound units, but for some reason they went from licking dogs to biting dogs. I don't know what that was about, but they definitely are utilizing our resources. However, this is the basin's first dog, and we're pretty proud of it. So.
I'd also like to thank the city of 29 Palms for joining in our partnerships to make this happen. So it's really great to have that kind of resource here, especially, like you said, when we have elderly or those with special needs or missing hikers. So the sooner we can find them, the better. So thank you.
Just excited to see it happen. It's nice that we live in a community that bands together when we need something, and it took a group of people to get it to happen, and we thank you for your tireless efforts on making it happen, and our other partners that allowed it to take place, the county and 29 Palms.
All right, well, thank you very much for that. That was a good start to our program this evening. We have another item. We have a couple more for presentations, also from the Joshua Tree National Park, Superintendent Jane Rogers.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. It's our privilege this evening to hear from Jane Rogers, Superintendent of the Joshua Tree National Park. Ms. Rogers was appointed starting August 13th, although she was acting superintendent since January of 2023. As you know, it's a big job out there. They have about 140 employees and serve 3 million visitors annually. And so super excited to hear from Jane. This is her first opportunity to address the council and the community in this capacity, and we welcome her.
Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much. All right, awesome. Good evening, council members. It's a great honor to be here tonight. I'm super excited to have this opportunity and to be continuing to serve the public, both here in the high desert and around the world, really. We're such an international destination, and I hope to share a little bit tonight. Just some updates. I know I don't want to take up too much time, so Leslie, please give me the sign or something when I got to wrap this thing up. Sorry to have my back to everybody, but good evening, everybody who's here tonight. So, yeah, my name's Jane Rogers. I've been working for the Park Service for about 30 years, and probably about half of that here at Joshua Tree National Park in one capacity or another. And tonight I just wanted to share what I hope are some things that might be relevant for this Yucca Valley and for the council. I know this is a little bit of a repeat of probably what David Smith, our former superintendent, has shared over the last years. But again, just a reminder of how much growth has been happening around here, and certainly how the national park has grown. When I started here in 1994, there's a goofy picture of me back in '96 measuring Joshua trees. We had about 1.3 million visitors, and that has doubled. And what's important about the doubling of our visitation is the short period of time that it doubled. It really doubled in about a 4-year span, and that's incredible growth for a national park to go from 1.3, and now we're looking at a continued increase in the summer. Kind of the data from this last year, it's not quite wrapped up yet, but we're looking at about a 5% increase this last year. So the growth rate is steady and holding and even continuing to grow a little bit. Some of the challenges we have as a national park today are a lot of the trip planning that we've done historically, and the messaging that we've been getting out to our public has been in our control. We've had a newspaper, we've had rangers providing information, but nowadays a lot of information is available over the internet, and that has some great positives, but it also has some challenges for us. Also, we've gone from having seasons to really being busy year-round, and I think the communities here, that's pretty obvious. You guys have continuous traffic, and I might even get a chance to talk about the Perseids a little later if we have time. So what are people doing? We had a comparative study between 2010 and 2019, and this shouldn't be too surprising, but one thing that the council might be interested in is that stargazing has gone from about a 25% interest to over half of our visitors really come here to experience our night skies. We still have really strong, really about the same level of interest in bouldering and rock climbing, but camping has gone up a little bit, and what I found interesting is about 75% of our visitors do stay overnight in the local area, and a little less than half of those are lodging outside of the park. So just some stats to think about. Some updates from us for the upcoming fiscal year. I know there's interest in what's going on in Black Rock at our Campground and Nature Center. It's been a source of challenge for us. The Park Service and Joshua Tree National Park submitted grants during the bipartisan infrastructure legislation bills, the Great American Outdoors Act, We've also submitted requests through line item construction, and we just kind of keep swinging and missing at the money that we need to really transform Black Rock. So what I told the staff this last year, I said what we need to do is just do what we can. Let's not wait for like a giant check to show up. Let's just start taking some small bites here. So this year we're looking at, we're almost done replacing, doing some tune-ups on the campgrounds, and I think what's probably of more interest is some pavement repair. So we're really going to hit some of that awful part of the road on the northwestern edge of the campground there. And the Nature Center improvements itself, we're going to do some just major, upkeep and maintenance that we've really needed to get to over the last few years. So some good work happening at Black Rock, especially with the amphitheater. If you heard, we unearthed the pool, and everybody was asking if Yogi the Bear was in there, and he's not. But the good thing is the subsidence, we're dealing with that. That's where we have a lot of our kids' programs, and we really need some level ground there and also accessibility. So, west entrance, I know this is kind of a more town of Joshua Tree interest, but maybe of interest to you all is that we are finally going to be breaking ground this year to update our entrance station. That's, if you go through the community of Joshua Tree and down Park Boulevard, that is where about half of our visitors come into the park. It shouldn't be a surprise. It's sort of the path of least resistance for traffic coming in from the Los Angeles, San Diego, Riverside, and San Bernardino County area. The goal of the project is really to address congestion. We already know, we see this happen, unfortunately, all too often. It's just a lot of backup on that road. So we're looking forward to moving the entrance station in about a half a mile and addressing some of our issues with blocking people into that neighborhood. Kind of the highlights there, we're going to be replacing the station, moving it in the park about a half a mile, increasing the inbound-outbound lanes from, it's going to be two inbound lanes and three inbound lanes and 2 outbound lanes. So we're really like doubling, more than doubling our capacity to bring people in, collect the fees, give them some good information, and get them moving into the park as well as coming out. So looking forward to that. The comfort station at the current entrance will stay in place, but everything else will get demolished. Other projects, just wanted to highlight is updating our fire management plan. I know fire and fire prevention in this area remains a really big concern. We're particularly interested in this, so this is a national park. I'm really proud of the work that our staff did earlier this summer in getting the geology fire out. We kept that at about 1,000 acres. And I look at what happened at Mojave Preserve, where they lost about 92,000 acres, and they've lost millions of Joshua trees over the last few years, unfortunately. So we're really trying to be very aggressive with firefighting and response time here at the park, and we'll keep doing that. As long as there's resources available, we will throw them at these fires to keep them as small as we can. If you've heard about the Cottonwood Visitor Center, I know that's far afoot. It's way down at the south end of the park. We've unfortunately had to postpone the construction of that new facility to fiscal '29. We were not able to successfully borrow funding to accelerate construction, so we're having to save our fee money over the next 5 years or so to bank that so we can get to construction in '29. I shared with the council already our economic impact report. If anybody in the community is interested, this information is public information. It's available every year. There's a lot of information out with statistics from our economic impact report, as well as statistics with visitation, overnight use, day use, and that kind of thing. And don't hesitate to reach out if those are numbers that you would like to get a hold of. I want to make a plug for using the NPS app. I know there's a lot of apps out there, and everyone's like sort of over how many apps you have on your phone. I promise this one doesn't require a password, so maybe that's good. But really, this is the one-stop shop. We really would love if you could encourage visitors, anybody in the tourism business in the local area, any of the residents that are looking to hike, go backpacking and recreate in the park to get the information from our app. Unfortunately, there's a lot of apps out there that are crowdsourced information that have a lot of trails shown on various maps, but those are not always the official park trails in the park. Unfortunately, we had a fatality earlier this summer in the Rattlesnake Canyon area with a party of people who were using crowdsourced information. That's basically, somebody draws a line on a map and says, hey, this is really cool, you should check it out. They weren't prepared. Unfortunately, they weren't able to wayfind, and one person fell and hit their head, and they were not able to get out. and get the help that they needed before they passed away. So it's really a big safety thing. It's really trying to get people some accurate information. So again, this NPS app is out there. It's for all national parks. It works offline. You don't need to be connected to cell service, similar to other map programs you might have. I think that's probably all I have time for. Yeah?
Keep going.
I can keep going? Okay. Sure. So I just want to touch on the Perseids event. I know that that's impacted a lot of the communities in the area. Certainly impacted the park with just massive congestion and traffic. And we're trying to figure out, like, well, what happened, you know? Why did this event become so popular? Why did it kind of take the communities and the Park Service off guard a little bit? As you all know, the Perseids happen every year, right? I mean, anybody that lives here, you know, we have amazing night skies. We see amazing meteor showers. But a lot of the promotion of this event that was not done by the National Park Service, it was done through a lot of news outlets and a lot of social media and a lot of, you know, through all those venues. And there seemed to be a common theme of really making sweeping statements like, Joshua Tree is the only place you can see the Perseids. Like, if you're going to go see the Perseids, you have to go to Joshua Tree because Joshua Tree National Park is the only place you can see this happen, which of course is not true. You can go outside in your backyard and look up in the sky. So, so that just really snowballed, and although we planned ahead, we saw some traffic. We try to keep a pulse on what's out there, what's on the different social media platforms, what we're hearing in the news. We knew it was getting spun up and people were going to be really interested, but we had no idea how interested. And there's a picture on the right I put up there that a friend of the park took and sent to me. That's just the line of traffic going in and out of the park. It was pretty crazy. We were down staff. Usually we do have to furlough some of our employees. We usually do that in the summertime, and so we had a little bit of a skeleton crew. That was also challenging. We were able to collect fees. I know there was some concerns by the community that we just kind of let people in and open the gate up, but we collected fees as long as we could and as long as it was safe until that traffic became really hazardous for like egress, for emergency vehicles. It was like a parking lot, so we just had to let people in. We didn't really have a choice. Some stats real quick. We saw the most vehicles entering the park per hour than we have on record. A big surprise to us was the number of vehicles coming in per hour at Cottonwood. You know, Cottonwood's kind of our sleepy little entrance to the south. You know, 20% of our visitors come there. And we had over 800 cars per hour coming in at Cottonwood at about 10 o'clock at night. And that just, we've never, ever experienced that before. If you don't know like what those numbers are relative, all I can tell you is like 600, you know, between 500 and 800 cars an hour is a lot. It's a lot of cars to come through our entrance stations. That ends up being about, you know, multiply that by 2.5. That's how many people we have on average per car, so you can get a sense of just how many people were coming in and out. So for future events, we had a debrief with the staff to figure out how can we better plan, how can we better prepare. We now have a calendar that we're just lining out all the astronomical phenomenon that happen. You know, there's a number of meteor showers. We pay attention to things like the solar eclipse, you know, things that really attract people out here that are unusual weather events. We know we get a ton of traffic for snow events. Snow is kind of unusual and it's fun, but then we get tons of people in the park and we haven't plowed and it gets a little crazy. Obviously, we're trying to pay attention to any potential celebrity site visits. That could cause a huge surge in visitation. And one metric we look at is how many people are backpacking. So that tells us that the campgrounds are full, people are desperate, they haven't planned ahead, and so they're using backpacking as an option for camping, and they're not necessarily prepared. Backpacking isn't about dragging a cooler down a trail. You're supposed to put a backpack on your back, and you're supposed to walk for a little bit and then camp. So yeah, we're just looking at trying to plan ahead as best we can for things that we can predict. There's things that we cannot foresee, but for that, we're setting up an incident command system and training more of our staff on the use of that and how to implement that, and just to try to get ahead of that a little bit. I think, yeah. Thank you so much for your time tonight and the opportunity.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Awesome. I'm like you, I remember the park as the monument, and we'd go out there and we wouldn't see anybody. This is back in the 70s.
I guess,
So,
I get to say one more thing.
yes.
I did work for the monument for like 6 months. And then it became a national park. So I had like a little taste of the monument, but that's it, yeah.
Well, then you're a trendsetter, because that's, everyone, the older people, I still call it, and my kids started picking it up, that we're going to the monument, we're going to the monument. But it's a beautiful park, and it's a jewel. Thank you for taking such good care of it.
I have one question,
Yes.
if I could. Jane, I have one question. Well, I remember, yeah, when I moved here as a teenager, everybody talked about going to the monument. And I always thought of like a statue. I didn't know what that meant, but then I found out right away. But my question is, campsites
Yeah.
are near 100% year-round, correct? But are you still, occupancy, are you still closing out campsites in the summer? Or do you leave them open now that there's more people in the summer?
Yeah, so for folks that aren't familiar with our old schedule, we used to close a number of campgrounds in the summer because no one was using them.
Yeah.
The last 5 years or so on some of these events, like either a meteor shower or something's going on, and seeing surge in visitation, we started to open up those previously closed campgrounds, and more and more we're leaving those open. I think we had Bell and White Tank closed a little bit this summer, but generally they're all open at this point, yeah. You're right, that's a big change for us.
Yeah, that is. All right, thank you.
Superintendent, thank you for being here tonight. I am thankful that you are as concerned as we are that Black Rock hasn't really gotten down the road as far as improvements and so forth. As you know, the town spent quite a bit of money improving the Black Rock Canyon Road access to there. And so I'm thankful that you are trying to now at least try to get a few projects going as you can, even though you haven't got the large amount of funding. But it is a beautiful area, and we really do appreciate your efforts in trying to bring that campground up. Do you see occupancy and so forth? Because sometimes we get inundated with people who are wanting to build private campgrounds now outside of the park and some accommodations. Is there a lack of campsites? I know you have this balance between preserving the natural beauty of the park and also accommodating the public who would like to come and enjoy. Is there plans for expanding some sites, or as you reconfigure some of the Black Rock area, you can get a few more sites there, or what are those plans?
Yeah, that's a great question. So as far as, what is our overnight plan? What's the capacity of the park? We don't have any plans at this time to expand camping. Part of the challenge that I've been scratching my head about is, how do we have a limited quantity of something that a lot of people want? So we have 500 campsites that, we could have probably 5,000 campsites. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but so my thought is, we could either develop more of the park, and then those campsites would also be full, be just as competitive, or are there opportunities to partner with our local communities that are looking at establishing private campgrounds, and maybe that's a place where, if the park is full, there may be some other opportunities outside the park. Thank you.
Hi, Jane. Thank you for the report. It was awesome. Good information. Seems to me I heard in the past that there was a plan to redo Black Rock Campground, and that the north-south routes were going to become east-west routes to accommodate drainage and so forth. Is that shelved, or is that in the works, or is that what's going to happen with that?
Yeah, we will continue to apply for those funds. Our last cost estimate was somewhere around $60 million to do the full facelift and the reconfiguration. So we'll keep applying for that, and until we get that, I think, my intent is I can't turn a blind eye to just watching it get worse and worse and worse. So let's use a modest amount of funding to at least kind of Band-Aid what we've got there. So that's the plan right now, and that's within our control because we have the fee money to do that. So the fees that we collect at the gates are going towards these modest improvements. over the year.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate your attention to that. And also the customer service that I've witnessed up at Black Rock at the Ranger Station there at the Visitor Center has been exceptional. I think it's been really good. So kudos for that. And also you mentioned that the west entrance improvements are going to break ground this year, 2023, so. Okay.
Yeah, I should say like this fiscal year, so we haven't awarded the contract yet, and I can't share too many details about that, but it's on my to-do list every day to get that contract awarded. I would imagine realistically, it's going to be after the holidays, so it could be January.
Okay. Well, thank you. Great report tonight.
Yeah, you're so welcome.
Hey, Jane, it's nice to have you present today, and a lot of information was real eye-opening for us. It's good to catch up on all those things. And I remember the conversation we had about Black Rock Canyon Road and your plans to repave some of the the driveways to the campsites. Is that right?
Yeah.
That'll be a really nice improvement
Yeah.
because they've gotten pretty bad over the years. And
Yeah, it's embarrassing. It's bad. It's really bad.
is your project with the digging up of the pool and all that, is that completed at this point?
We are, I just saw, so I should have said Alex Snay. I don't know if anybody knows Alex. He's our new Chief of Facilities Management. He is awesome. He's retired Marine Corps. He's been working with us for a few years now. I think he's looking at like 90% on that, but we still have to do the ADA ramp, so he's working on that as kind of the last bit. And that amphitheater will continue to serve our education programs. And I think we're connecting with like 6,000 kids a year, so it's pretty good, yeah.
That's great. It'll be nice to see that facility used again for education of the kids like it was in the past.
Yeah,
Do you remember Jellystone Park there?
yeah, I do, yeah.
That was
Yeah.
quite a ways back, wasn't it?
Yeah, so you might be entertained to know that the Nature Center is eligible for the National Historic Register because of its affiliation with Jellystone, because a lot of the Jellystone campgrounds have been either, raised or modified so much they don't look anything like they used to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's fun. Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome.
And just one more comment, again, thank you for being here, but also in your presentation, you had outlined the horse camp there that is great to have joining our community. They're not that common anymore in the park system, so I think we're very lucky to have one here, and I'm glad that it's identified and recognized still. So it's a big part of our community for those equestrians, have a place to go also and enjoy the park.
I hope we're looking at establishing a bathroom closer to the horse camp. And our partner, Joshua Tree National Park Association, has put that on their philanthropic plan for the year, over the next few years, to do some fundraising for that. So I'm really excited that they see the value in that and that they're excited to try to help the park out and make that happen.
Yeah, it just makes us a little bit more unique from the other parks and, the different areas. And also, thank you for solving the mystery of Yogi Bear, that he's not there.
I'm disappointed too. Yeah.
Okay, thanks again for spending the time with us. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, and we're not done with presentations yet. We have an introduction this evening, a couple.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I would like to introduce you to our two new members of the Public Works team joining our streets department in the skilled maintenance worker 2 position. We have Justin Hess and William Nipper. Justin have over 3 years of experience in operating, repairing, and maintaining tractors, trailers, and various heavy equipment. Justin will be a great asset for the Public Works team during storm cleanup. It's not that we wish that is happening, but it's going to happen one day or the other. He is also resident of the town of Yucca Valley. William joined us with a great experience from the Parks Department of the County of San Bernardino Special Districts. Prior to that, William worked for the City of Davis in the street department for 5 years. So he have experience with what we encountering right here in the town of Yucca Valley. He is also became a new resident of the town of Yucca Valley when he got his disposition. We are looking forward for their contribution to Public Works and the Streets Department. I've asked them if they would like to say something or dance or sing, but they said that they're microphone shy, so that will be it. William and Justin. Thank you.
No song and dance?
Well, welcome to the team. We very much appreciate you joining us, and there'll be no shortage of things to keep you occupied in this community when it comes to keeping it at the highest level possible. All right, moving on. We'll move on to approval of the agenda.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve tonight's agenda as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmembers Abel.
Yes.
Droz.
Yes.
Lombardo.
Yes.
Schooler.
Yes.
And Mayor Dennison.
Yes. All right, following that, our consent agenda tonight, all items listed on the consent agenda are routine matters of formal documents covering previous town council instruction. Items are enacted in one motion and a second without separate discussion unless a member of the town council or town staff requests dialogue on a specific item at the beginning of the meeting. Request for public comment on the consent agenda should be filled out with the town clerk. It'd be right over there. So if you have anything you'd like to speak about on the consent agenda, please make sure it's known by the clerk. Are there any questions from the community on the consent agenda? And the council? All right, we'll move it for a motion.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda items 4 through 15.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Councilmembers Abel.
Yes.
Droz.
Yes.
Lombardo.
Yes.
Schooler.
Yes.
And Mayor Dennison.
Yes. All right, we're going to go ahead and go to item number 16. It's a public hearing, state law, medical marijuana delivery services development code amendment. The hearing is now open. Staff?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This item tonight is an ordinance that will amend the town's code with respect to medical marijuana delivery. Erica Vega from my office is online. She will be giving the staff presentation to you. But before I turn the time over to her, as you know, there's just a legal requirement to read the title of the ordinance. So I'm just going to read that right now, and then I'm going to turn it over to Erica. So the title of the ordinance is an ordinance of the Town Council of the Town of Yucca Valley, California, amending Section 9.53.030 and repealing Sections 9.53.050 and 9.53.060D of the Municipal Code to permit non-storefront delivery only medicinal marijuana dispensaries and delivery of marijuana within the town of Yucca Valley in compliance with state law. With that, I'll turn it over to Erica for the staff presentation.
Hello, Mayor and council members. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. Thank you, Tom, for the introduction. The ordinance we have before you this evening is relatively straightforward, I believe. It is to implement a change in state law that goes into effect on January 1 of next year that requires cities and counties to allow delivery-only medicinal cannabis retailers. So the town of Yucca Valley currently has a complete prohibition on cannabis businesses. And what this new law does is it would prohibit the town from enforcing your prohibition, meaning that if a business like this were to come to your town and the city didn't adopt this ordinance, you would have no regulations in place that you could enforce to help guide the appropriate locations in the city, the town where the business could locate or impose any other regulations on the business. So this ordinance is aimed to stop that from happening. And what we've done is put together a relatively straightforward zoning ordinance amendment that will allow delivery only, so no storefront, no walk-in business, delivery only, and medicinal only, no recreational or adult use cannabis, retail operations to physically locate in the city. And the proposed ordinance would allow them to locate in your industrial zones. by right if it's moving into an existing building, but with a site plan review if they're proposing new construction. The other cleanup type amendments are also made. We went ahead and just cleaned up some of the terminology that is used to be consistent with current state terminology in the laws and regulations, including transportation is no longer a separate category of cannabis business. So we're moving that out as well. And also clarifying that a delivery business that has a physical location outside of your town can drive into your town to make deliveries as well. And those three things are really the crux of what this ordinance before you this evening does. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions about the ordinance, about SB 1186, or anything else related to cannabis.
Mayor, if I might just add a couple of additional comments. As you know, as Attorney Vega indicated to you this evening, the ordinance modification is required by state law for us to be compliant as effective in January. I think, interestingly, we have seen continued state guidelines coming down to the local level that have established ongoing, I would call them modifications to potentially what was in place at the local level. In other words, the state regulations may come down and require the town, like we're doing tonight, to continue to advance different types of initiatives that the state feels are appropriate, irrespective of local control. All of that for the council and the town has historically not allowed any potential uses for medical marijuana licenses, and there are a number of different licenses that are available, whether it's retail outlet, whether it's cultivation, industrial use, et cetera. One of the alternatives that's available to the town council is to maybe provide, this may be an opportunity for the town council to think about, is it appropriate for us to begin to be proactive and understand what type of framework might be acceptable to this community if the state continues to push in this direction, number one. Number two, the council may want to understand what's important to the residents in this community and to do so through a statistically reliable survey of, is this something that the community is interested in? If so, what is important? What types of regulations would be important? Is it something that the community wants to have nothing to do with? And all of that would provide the council with future information for any future action. So those are two alternatives. Again, the introduction of the ordinance is what we feel required from the council this evening to be compliant with state law. The other two alternative actions are at the discretion of the council this evening.
Thank you very much for additional clarification. And Attorney Vega, thank you very much for that briefing on the matter. This time, we'll go ahead and open up the public hearing to any public comments that may be here this evening to like to discuss this item.
Mayor, we have a request to speak from Carrie Kish. You'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Do I have to push something? Okay. Hi.
Hello.
My name is Carrie Kish. I'm an outreach prevention specialist here in the town of Yucca Valley. And I work with creating safeguards for our youth. So different protective factors within our environment, which is the town of Yucca Valley, to keep youth away from substances. I don't think very many of us are against the medicinal use of marijuana or cannabis. But I am concerned about this ordinance. It seems very, the stipulations put on the businesses seems like a very insignificant amount to go from nothing allowed to now you can do almost anything. So looking at precedent of other cities, protections they have put in place, including looking at the cost of the product, looking at taxation, looking at marketing, looking at the distance these stores are between each other. We recently did alcohol sales stores surveying retail locations, And we were, it was really interesting because not that anyone wants to ban alcohol, but our alcohol stores are literally walking distance from each other, and do we want that for cannabis stores? It's ironic in that for youth, the larger factor of if they're going to be influenced by the retail market of cannabis is with medicinal use, because it seems more okay, right? It's a norm that's being established in the community. And that's not to say that we shouldn't provide access to those that need it, but things that might influence them seeing it as a social norm are things like the type of advertising that we allow, including the advertising on the business itself, the location of how close these stores are together, the location of how close they are to where students live and go to school and play. Another stipulation that some towns have used as precedent is to limit locations. So you can't, for instance, deliver to a playground or a park or a college dormitory. So I would just think, I don't know if y'all are going to vote tonight, but I just wanted to speak up and say, you know, maybe there's some more protections we could put in place than what is being presented tonight based on precedent of other cities. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Anyone else from the public? Do we have anyone online like to speak this evening? No? Okay, we'll bring it back to the council. Any council members on item 16? Yes.
I'll say something. I don't care whether it's a storefront or non-storefront, but we do have to have protections in place, of course, you know, like distance from a school or distance from whatever to keep students safe. But I don't know why it's just medicinal. People can get it in Desert Hot Springs and have it delivered here just as easily. So I think if it's a non-storefront, I don't think it has to be only medicinal. It could be recreational. I'm not for cultivation at all, but that's not part of this, but I just want to make that clear. But I don't know why it's just only medicinal, because it's going to get here anyway from Desert Hot Springs or wherever. So I think it should be like beyond medicinal, and we should look at like just recreational delivery also. So that's all. Thanks.
Member Abel.
Yeah, and everyone understands we're not talking about dispensaries or storefronts and things like that. And there are safeguards in here as far as the warehousing of any medical marijuana, where they can be away from schools, only in those industrial zones. And I believe, Attorney Vega, we are really basically updating our ordinance so that we're in line with what state requires us to be in line with. So this is at least the first step. And even if we decided later on that having deliveries, which we can't regulate anyway, we know that marijuana deliveries are happening all the time. We tonight are just dealing with the medical marijuana requirement. And then if we wanted to include other delivery services in the future, I'd be open to hear about that. I'm not really interested in the alternatives the town manager gave us on future items and so forth. I just want to deal with this particular ordinance. And so I believe we are required to be in line with the state on this. And again, this has very, very low impact on what's already happening now. It's just putting it in writing. So I will support it as written tonight. And thank you, Attorney Vega, for the presentation.
Any other comments?
Go ahead.
I like what our town manager suggested about being preemptive and looking with a survey to survey the public on what further protections or additions or controls need to be placed on this kind of thing. And do we want just a medical marijuana delivery type service, which is required by to be available by the state, so we have no control over that. But in the past, Yucca Valley has definitely had community support for a lack of marijuana cultivation and a lack of having marijuana dispensary stores. And that was by public vote. And I think it's important that we get a feel for what the current situation is with our constituents so that we know what Yucca Valley desires. There's a lot of controversy over whether the liberalization of the medical marijuana laws or the marijuana laws in general, recreational use, have been a benefit or a curse. And I think, we want to represent our citizens in what they want. And I think we've got to approach it with more knowledge. And right now, I don't think we have the knowledge to make that decision. But I think a well-done and scientifically solid survey would be of great benefit. And I approve of the way that we're handling this today. We're kind of being, we need to comply with the state law, and so this has to happen, and this is the timing that it needs to happen at. But I think before the state mandates other things, that we should look into it and have a better understanding of what our citizens want. So,
Thank you, Councilmember Schooler.
Yeah, I appreciate the public comment, and just want to repeat that this does not open it up for retail operation, just the delivery of medical marijuanas. And it's mandated by the state that we do so. As for the being proactive for down the road, I don't think it's the highest priority, but I do think we don't want to be surprised down the road either. So probably to be proactive and put out a survey at some point or include this issue with another survey that we might be doing is probably well advised. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. The council and the town work very hard to remain compliant in many aspects, and this one being a state mandate, that is what we're trying to follow right now. We're crafting that together. I think Attorney Vega said it very well. It's a good proposal. I've read through it. It does have controls, as you've mentioned, around schools and other areas. It's limited to industrial and probably some commercial areas too on the fringe, but it's an M-type 9 category, which is a non-storefront. So it's basically a dark store that vehicles could come and go and make these medical deliveries. So it's a little bit different. It's not as present as some of what you're talking about. So I don't even believe that signage would be that present. There would be some kind of identification, I would guess, but that's not that kind of store. We make a lot of decisions on community livability surveys that we do. We ask the community to be involved in what we do. We're here to make decisions and guide this group for you. And so I think it's a good idea to look forward ahead too on what may happen after this, to see what something in the community, what kind of model they would like to see, to bring those ideas forward, to make sure it's included, your thoughts are included in the conversation. If we don't do these kinds of things, make a clean way for some type of communication and relationship, we don't know exactly what's out there. So I think doing that at the bottom, if you've looked at the agenda, there's alternatives, and one of them is to evaluate future modifications, and the other part, it clearly says in here to look for the concerns and interests from the community on expansion of licensure, if that would be something that would come forward in the future.
I have a question for our Deputy Town Manager. Have we received any inquiries in all the years of being incorporated of somebody wanting to have an actual warehouse for medical marijuana delivery like we see here?
There have been inquiries, and then based upon this matter being advertised for Planning Commission public hearing and Town Council public hearing, there are inquiries on a weekly basis.
Okay. Yeah, for me personally, I would imagine anyone in the medical marijuana distribution would have a storefront down in the low desert where they have their supplies and growers and warehouse it there, and then they just have deliveries up here. I don't see it being economically something that would make sense, but I'm not in that business. So if they do want to have a place to store and so forth, then then that would be an option that they would have. So, and I believe, if you remember, the whole marijuana issue came up before was not because of a council. It was a citizens initiative, and they got petitions and so forth, and they were wanting to put it on the ballot. So that's still an option for the community if that's what they're interested in. But I'd like to address what we have in front of us, and I'd like to make a motion if there's no other discussion. Oh, did you close the public hearing?
No, we have not.
Okay.
We're still in discussion. So since there's no other comments online or in the public, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing and back to the council.
I'd like to make a motion, if there's no other discussion by council, that the Development Code Amendment be adopted as presented and read.
And I'll second the item.
Council members Abel,
Yes.
Droz,
Yes.
Lombardo,
Yes.
Schooler,
Yes.
and Mayor Dennison.
Yes. Thank you for that, and thank you for the participation that we've had. We'll move on to item number 17. And let me catch up here. This is our fiscal year 22-23 Public Works Annual Report, one of my favorite presentations of the entire year.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The item before you tonight is the fiscal year 22-23 Public Works Annual Report, and the recommendation before you tonight that the Town Council receives and files the 22-23 Public Works Annual Report. With that, Robert?
Yeehaw.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, and citizens. My name is Robert Adams. I am the Street Maintenance Supervisor for the town of Yucca Valley. This year, David Johnson is going to be presenting the street and fleet section of the Public Works presentation. David? By the way, he is the lead skilled maintenance worker for the Streets Department.
Which button goes forward? Good evening, Mayor, council members, citizens, and staff. My name is David Johnson. As Robert mentioned, I am the lead skilled maintenance worker assigned to streets for the town of Yucca Valley. I will be presenting the street maintenance section along with the fleet maintenance section of the Public Works Annual Report. The town's street maintenance division currently consists of 3 skilled maintenance worker 2 positions, a lead skilled maintenance worker, and 1 supervisor position. They are a highly dedicated team with the responsibility to maintain 150 miles of pavement and 2.58 miles of dirt road within the town's limits. As most of us are aware, much of what the street maintenance division does is dependent on the weather. Between July 1, 2022 and June 30 of 2023, this community experienced 18 rain events, 13 of which required removal of sand and debris from our roadways. After storm events, town staff responds immediately to remove the sand and debris from the roadway that causes unsafe conditions for motorists. Debris removal operations can last anywhere from 3 days up to 2 weeks, depending on the severity of the storm. After removal of heavy debris, street sweeping begins. Street sweeping can last up to 2 months. It takes approximately 56 days to sweep every road in the town of Yucca Valley. After rain events, shoulder maintenance helps prevent the loss of the edge of roadway and provide a safe place for traffic to enter and exit the roadway. Another issue resulting from stormwater runoff is erosion. After the numerous rain events of the year, the town of Yucca Valley has many locations where the shoulders of the roads have been almost completely washed away, and that erosion jeopardizes the integrity of the roadway as well as creating potentially unsafe condition for motorists. Many of the erosion issues are brought to our attention by citizens' requests, and the street division responds to these locations as quickly as possible, prioritizing safety issues first and making the shoulders safe for traveling vehicles. Asphalt berms play a major role in the protection of the town's roadways. Failure of the berms that protect the edge of our roadways can lead to serious damage to the road, the public right-of-way, and also the private properties that are adjacent to these roads. The town of Yucca Valley is currently in the process of repairing the berm issues facing the community. Staff has identified over 24,000 linear feet of broken or missing berm sections and is taking the steps necessary to begin repair and replacement of those sections. The repair of the berm failures around the community will not only prevent further damage to the public right-of-way, but will reduce the amount of sand and debris that ends up in the roadways after storm events, thus reducing the cleanup time after these storms. And here was this again. Potholes and patching are probably the most common function performed in street maintenance. The most common way staff is alerted to the presence of potholes is by citizen request. It is through direct involvement of our concerned citizens that we are able to meet the needs of our community and provide the level of service that we do. The town currently uses a bagged cold mix asphalt product to repair potholes. This product has proven to be the most efficient and effective method for repairing failures in the roadway. The process of repair involves cleaning the loose debris from the surface failures so that the new cold patch asphalt will bind to the existing roadway. When the surface is cleared of debris, the cold patch is placed into the failure. The asphalt is then leveled and compacted, making the surface smooth for travel and reducing the potential for further deterioration of the roadway. In an average day of pothole repair, the town's street division can place anywhere from 1,000 pounds to 3,000 pounds of cold patch asphalt using 50-pound bags. The process greatly improves the drivability of the roads and prolongs the life of the roadway. Along with more than 150 miles of paved roads, another function the town's street division is to maintain a little over 2.5 miles of dirt road. These roads are maintained in a 6-month cycle and also after heavy storm events. Heavy storms can cause severe erosion to dirt roads and at times make these roads almost impassable. Multiple pieces of heavy equipment are used to repair and maintain dirt roads, including road grader, skip loader, front end loader, and a dump truck. At times, hundreds of tons of material must be imported to fill deep erosion and restore a safe level driving surface. Through routine maintenance and actively following up after storm events, the street division attempts to provide safe, passable dirt roads within the maintained system. An extremely important aspect of street maintenance is signage. Street signs not only give direction and instruction for motorists, but warn of potentially hazardous conditions to be avoided. Signs that have been blown down due to heavy winds, that have been vandalized, or have been struck by automobiles in the right-of-way are replaced as soon as possible. I didn't even touch nothing. Uh-oh. Did I turn it off? Okay. That's good to know. I apologize. The town of Yucca Valley currently has more than 3,500 traffic signs and 1,500 street name signs within the maintained system. The project to replace over 1,200 street name signs townwide is currently underway. Contract has been awarded to a sign manufacturer, and arrival of the first batch is expected soon. The street division will be installing these signs at a rate of approximately 100 per month to achieve compliance with federal and state regulations and provide a uniform appearance for street name signs throughout our community. As part of our local road safety plan, The town has been adding new signs and upgrading signs in the maintained system that will provide better advance warning and safer conditions for motorists on our roads. As part of our efforts to make the roadway safer, the town's street maintenance division has begun an evaluation of all pavement markings within the maintained system. We hope to have a comprehensive evaluation completed and plans for repairs and improvements very soon. The street division is also responsible for maintaining the pavement marking in 5 school zones. These pavement markings are refreshed every year at the beginning of the school year to help provide children safe access to and from our local schools. Repainting the crosswalks in the school zones alerts drivers to the fact that children are present and provides children walking to and from the schools with a safer path in the public right-of-way. Repainting the pavement markings in the school zones typically takes a street division a week to complete. Additionally, the crosswalk at Town Hall and the directional arrows in the community center parking lot get refreshed to facilitate the smooth movement of traffic through that complex. There is also 371 linear feet of red curb that gets repainted every year. Most of this curb is at Yucca Valley High School, but also at our Yucca Valley Animal Shelter and other locations around town. There are 6 speed radar units and 12 flashing lights in the school zones that the street division programs at the beginning of each school year to operate while school is in session. These radar units were recently replaced because the older units had developed programming issues and the hardware and software for those units had become obsolete. Excuse me. An additional responsibility for the street division is the maintenance of the town's vehicles and equipment. The town currently has 21 plated vehicles and 27 specialized pieces of equipment in inventory that staff uses to perform their daily functions. Many of their minor repairs needed are performed by the talented members of our staff, while larger and more complicated repairs are sourced out to professional service providers. 7 new vehicles have been purchased to replace some of the older and more worn-out units. Let me express my thankfulness to the council for the purchase of the new vehicles and equipment over recent years. It has allowed us to maintain a higher level of service and aided greatly in the accomplishment of our duties. I assure you my sentiment is shared by the majority of staff. One of these new vehicles is the first all-electric car in the town's inventory, displaying our movement toward compliance with state regulations and an environmentally responsible position. This concludes the street and fleet section of the Public Works Annual Report. At this point, I would like to turn over the presentation to Mr. Rusty Scott, the Park Maintenance Supervisor.
Great job, David.
Great job.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'd like to turn this over to Joe Bowers, lead maintenance worker in the parks. He's going to present the parks annual report.
All right, thanks, Rusty.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Town Council, staff, and citizens. My name is Joseph Bowers. I'm the lead skilled maintenance worker for the Parks Division of the Public Works, and I will be giving the presentation for the Parks Division this evening. The town's park maintenance crew has 2 maintenance worker 1 positions, 2 maintenance worker 2 positions, 1 lead maintenance worker, and 1 supervisor. We're a highly dedicated team with over 69 combined years working for the town of Yucca Valley, operating 7 days per week, year-round. The Parks Division responsibilities consist of taking care of 19 acres of turf at parks and town facilities, an irrigation system that allows us to monitor water usage and alerts us on system deficiencies. The town uses 28 million gallons of water per year that flow through 230 irrigation valves. We take care of parking lot striping and maintenance. We also maintain the pool and all the equipment to keep it running in good order. We do vandalism repairs such as painting, pressure washing, along with litter and trash removal. Playground inspections, maintenance, and repairs. At the community center, we have 5 acres of turf. Perform irrigation repairs as needed. We prune the trees as well as do the landscaping. Check and maintain the playground equipment. Do the softball infield maintenance and take care of the restroom maintenance and cleaning on the weekends. At Brim 1, we have 2 acres of turf. We perform irrigation repairs as needed. We do infield maintenance, prune the trees as well as the landscaping, and take care of the restroom maintenance and the cleaning on the weekends. At Brim 2, we have 4 acres of turf. We perform irrigation repairs as needed. We prune the trees as well as the landscaping, check them and maintain the playground equipment. We do the Miracle League field surfacing maintenance, and we take care of the restroom maintenance and the cleaning on the weekends. At Remembrance Park, we perform irrigation repairs as needed. We prune the trees as well as do the landscaping and repair damage from vehicles or from vandalism. At Jacobs Park, we have 3 tennis courts and 4 pickleball courts that we maintain. We prune the trees and take care of the landscaping, check and maintain the playground equipment. We use the tractor to drag out the weeds and groom the 2 baseball diamonds, along with the open areas and the retention basin. And we take care of the restroom maintenance and the cleaning on the weekends. At Essig Park, we have 2.5 acres of turf. We perform irrigation repairs as needed. We prune the trees and do the landscaping, check and maintain the playground equipment, drag the weeds with the tractor in the open areas, and we take care of the restroom maintenance and cleaning on the weekends. At Macris Park, we have 1.5 acres of turf. Perform irrigation repairs as needed. We prune the trees as well as do the landscaping. We do the softball infield maintenance, check and maintain the playground equipment, drag the weeds with the tractor in the open areas, and we take care of the restroom maintenance and cleaning on the weekends. At Paradise Park, we have 1 acre of turf. We perform irrigation repairs as needed. We prune the trees as well as do the landscaping, check and maintain the playground equipment, and we take care of the restroom maintenance and cleaning on the weekends. At Tri-Valley Little League, we have 3 acres of turf. We perform irrigation repairs as needed, and we perform infield maintenance of the 4 baseball fields. The Parks Department is also maintains an additional 5 irrigated landscaped areas. At the Welcome Center, we perform irrigation repairs as needed, and we do landscaping and major tree pruning. At the Public Works Yard, we perform irrigation repairs as needed, and we prune the trees as well as do the landscaping. At Park and Ride, we perform irrigation repairs as needed. We prune the trees as well as do the landscaping and perform litter control. At the Animal Shelter, we perform irrigation repairs as needed, and we do the landscaping and the major tree pruning. At the New Branch Library, we perform irrigation repairs as needed. We prune the trees as well as do the landscaping and perform litter control. This year, we contracted out some of our landscaping duties to assist us throughout the town. Mariposa Landscaping has been a big help with our beautification process of the highway medians, outer highways, the Animal Shelter, Park and Ride, Remembrance Park, the Branch Library, and the Welcome Center. To control our irrigation systems, we've been using Scorpio irrigation clocks, seen on the left. The Scorpio irrigation clocks have become obsolete and almost impossible to find parts for, so we started the process of upgrading these clocks with the newest style called Iranet M's, which are by Motorola, and they are seen on the right. In addition to parks and irrigated landscape areas, the Parks Division maintains non-irrigated areas and town undeveloped lots performing weed and litter abatement. This is one of the lots we maintain on Elk Trail. This is another one of our lots that we maintain. This is the retention basin west of the BMX track. The Parks crew addresses vandalism as soon as it's noticed or reported. The replacement of playground equipment and picnic tables, the repainting of public restrooms, and the removal of graffiti is costly and time-consuming. At the Yucca Valley Community Pool, we do daily inspections on the water chemistry and the pump room equipment. When we do weekly maintenance, it consists of us cleaning the pool and the covers along with backwashing the filter. Pool repairs include pumps and electrical systems are performed year-round. Here we are replacing a check valve on the pump motor. And speaking of pools, the Parks Division is assisting with the design and development of the Prop 68 Aquatic Center. The Parks crew does major projects throughout the year. Some of the projects we did this year include storm cleanup at the parks. We did major pruning at various locations throughout the town. This is at the senior center. We clean up the snow and hay bales after the snow play day, which everybody loves.
Coming up.
We perform major irrigation repairs at numerous parks. Some of them can be quite intense. Here we are seeding and top dressing the sports fields. We had 280 yards of wood chips added to all the playground areas for safety, and we replace the wood chips annually. Here we are replacing the shade at Brem 2 over the playground equipment. And repairing the lips on the softball field while adding clay, just to name a few of the projects. The Parks Department also helped with overseeing of capital improvement projects done by contractors. This is a picture of the basketball courts at Paradise Park before they're being resurfaced. This is the finished construction of North Park, which has been getting a lot of use. And one of the biggest projects that we've been overseeing is the construction of the new dog parks at Essig, which has had an expansion done to the small dog park, along with new grass, irrigation, shade structures, and sidewalks around the dog parks and the playground area. As you can see, it's turning out fantastic. One project in particular that we are extremely proud to be a part of was the Sergeant Vaca Memorial. The Parks crew was able to assist with the concrete base and the stand, while Leslie did an amazing job of getting the plaque created, and Curtis helped get it all put together. And before I finish, everyone in the Parks Department really wants to thank the Town Council for allowing us to purchase these new mowers. Our productivity has doubled and the fields look great. We cannot thank you enough. We really do appreciate it. And there's your Parks Department.
Very good.
I'm going to turn it over to James for his speech on facilities.
Good job, Joseph.
Good evening, Mayor, Town Council, staff, and citizens. My name is James McCubbin. I am the Facilities Maintenance Supervisor for the Town of Yucca Valley, and I'll be presenting the Facilities Division portion of the annual report. Facilities Division consists of 2 full-time positions, 2 part-time positions, and 1 supervisor position. The Facilities Division maintains room rental setups and tear downs at the community center and senior center, sometimes from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., 5 to 7 days per week, including holiday events throughout the year. Staff provides coffee, water, and audio-visual setups for events as needed. The Facilities Division performs janitorial services town-wide 5 days a week at Town Hall, Senior Center, Community Center, Museum, and the Sheriff's Substation. 3 days a week at Community Development, 1 day a week or as needed at park, rental facilities, and buildings. The Facilities Division maintains 23 town buildings totaling more than 75,000 square feet of indoor space. Among other things, this includes sweeping, mopping, and waxing 26,000 square feet of floor tile, vacuuming and cleaning 18,300 square feet of carpet, washing 6,000 square feet of glass, cleaning 50-plus toilets and urinals, carrying and servicing of 245 doors and 700 light fixtures, 3,000 average setup and teardowns annually at the community center. The Facilities Division works closely with town staff by assisting with setups and teardowns for holiday events and special events such as 4th of July concert and fireworks display, chamber music at the museum, holiday craft fair, Halloween Spooktacular, and Mara's Christmas Wish toy drive. The Facilities Division manages several contractors. Desert Art cleans park restrooms and grounds at all park sites Monday through Friday, excluding holidays. Pro Security monitors security, fire alarm services, and annual testing of the systems. Honeywell maintains over 225 tons of HVAC units townwide, as well as local locksmith, electricians, and plumbers. The Facilities Division works close with contractors on repairs. Staff assisted Honeywell with the removal and installation of a rebuilt 20-ton compressor on the community center HVAC system. Staff assisted with the removal of the old compressor and hoisting the new compressor into position as it was quite large. Schroeder Plumbing installed a new bottle filler at the museum. Staff relocated an electrical box, made drywall repairs, and painted once the contractor completed the install. A new HVAC system was installed at the sheriff's substation. High Desert Air installed a new ductless mini-split system. This provides higher efficiency and energy saving. Staff removed the old HVAC unit. Staff installed an electric junction box for connection of the new unit, patched and painted the walls once the job was complete. Vinyl flooring in the animal shelter was bubbling and separating from the concrete, causing trip hazard in the public restrooms. Facility staff removed fixtures in the restrooms, and local contractor Affinity Flooring removed the old flooring and installed new vinyl flooring. Staff reinstalled fixtures once work was completed. We had a roll-up door at community development for the wash bay that was damaged and wind was tearing it apart, and we had overhead doors of the desert installed a new 20-foot wide by 12-foot high roll-up steel door with a gear-driven hoist. Contractor removed and disposed of the old door. We also worked close with town vendors on repairs. The gas company identified a gas leak in the courtyard at the community center. All gas lines beyond the service meter are the town's responsibility. Staff identified and replaced approximately 20 feet of corroded and damaged gas line. The gas line was severely corroded in some sections, causing a hazardous situation. Several of the iron fittings were not wrapped, leading to corrosion over time. All joints and uncoated pipe were wrapped in 20 mil PVC tape after repairs were made. Staff pressure tested pipe and confirmed repairs before calling the gas company for inspection. Once the gas company performed their tests and confirmed repairs, the trench was backfilled and the line was put back into service. At the senior center, Edison installed a new transformer. Staff assisted with moving perishables to the community center during the power outage. Staff assisted with shutting down the main panel in the building and checking building equipment for proper phase rotation to ensure proper operation and safety of equipment once service was restored. Staff assisted the FSA with the installation of a new ice machine head unit that they purchased for the senior center kitchen. Staff installed the new unit on top of the existing ice bin and made necessary electrical and plumbing connections. Installation of 3 new 20-amp circuits at Brem Recreation Building snack bar, upgraded from 3 to 6 service outlets, provided greater capabilities for serving snacks and refreshments at the park as requested by the user group.
Staff pulled in 175 feet of MC cable in the T-bar ceiling, wired in 3 new 20-amp receptacles, added 3 20-amp circuit breakers to the panel, patched and painted walls once completed. A citizen reported a non-functioning service outlet at the lower tennis court. Staff found a broken outlet causing a hazardous condition. Staff replaced the outlet and weather cover, then tested to confirm proper operation. The staff appreciates the citizens reporting these issues as it enables us to address these issues promptly to avoid any injuries or property damage. Porcelain sinks and levered meter faucets at Brim were being vandalized and broken. Staff removed the old sinks and faucets. Staff installed new stainless steel sinks and push-button meter faucets. The new sinks and faucets are more resilient and vandal-proof. Since installation, we have not had to replace any broken sinks or faucets.
Nice.
Staff repaired and repurposed the metered faucets from Brem to the community center. Staff removed 4 old faucets and installed the rebuilt metered faucets in the community center. Metered faucets provide savings on water usage. Painting at the Macris Park Recreation Building. Staff scraped, sanded all fascia, window, trim, and posts as they were becoming quite weathered. Staff replaced 20 feet of fascia board. Staff prepped and patched remaining fascia as needed. Staff painted all fascia, window trim, and posts. This improved the appearance of the building and prevents further deterioration of the woodwork. Vandalism at Paradise Park. Windows were frequently being broken with rocks. Staff rebuilt a window cover on the west side of the building and fabricated 3 more covers for the south side of the building. We have not had any broken windows since this was completed.
Nice.
Over the period of 1 year, the average number of setups and teardowns is over 3,000, 99% here at the community center. Scheduling and coordination is important with all the different user groups, meetings, special events, and day-to-day duties. Flexibility and customer service continue to be top priorities. We hope to continue meeting the expectations of the community. Recommendation that the Town Council receives and files the 2022-2023 Public Works Presentation and Report.
Very impressive.
So if there's any questions, Mayor and Council, they will be happy to answer.
I can't have any questions about the great work that they do. I'll tell you, it's really nice because I can take anybody anytime in our community, and I can drive them to any of our facilities, I can take them to any of our parks, and I don't have to be concerned that they're always in the best of shape. You know, one thing that you mentioned is, and this is all of you, you know, whether it's road or it's with the parks or the facilities, your action on vandalism and graffiti is very much appreciated. Yes. Getting that out of the way is a big thing for our community because most of the time I never notice it at all. You know, sometimes I'll see it and I know already it's been reported and it's taken care of. So there's just too many great things to say, but I really appreciate everything all of you do. Any other comments here?
First of all, I think the community, I know I'm blown away every time that how much work gets done with so few people. I think the community oftentimes thinks government and people are just, milking the tax dollars and they're not getting a return on their investment. And you guys prove over and over again just how valuable you are to the system and how much you give to our community. I still don't know how we can maintain streets with a crew as small as it is or the parks as small as they are and the maintenance and so forth. I mean, you guys deal with so many items and dealing with a lot of dollars. So appreciate all your efforts and so forth. When you are out doing pothole repair, which seems to be quite often until we get all these streets repaved and then we have to maintain, does it take the entire crew of 3 to 4 or 5 people to do a pothole day when you're out there working?
No, sir, not every time. There are times when only 2 employees will go out. We try to deploy at 3 or more because of the safety factor when working in traffic.
Right.
So, but there are times when only 2 people will go out and pothole.
All right. We have later on monies that are maybe designated for vehicle and equipment replacement and so forth. And I've always mentioned before, I've never seen the cost, but I know there are pothole machines, trucks that are very efficient in 5 minutes be able to take care of a pothole, move on to the next one. A crew of maybe one person on that truck can do a lot of the work of 3 or 4 in half the time or a lot less than half the time. So, you know, it'd be interesting to see what the costs are on that. I would not be, I mean, I think that's what we need to get from our, you know, our supervisors from your departments is things that we can invest in that saves manpower and dollars. And as you know, labor is very, very expensive. And if we can make an investment that we can use a machine for 10-year life cycle that saves a lot of manpower and hours, I'm interested in investing those dollars and making your job a little bit more efficient and better. On the Parks and Recreation or the Parks crew and so forth, are we transitioning, are we using any battery operated machines out there, blowers, riding lawnmowers, anything that's electric right now? Have we made those changes yet?
No, I know Home Depot, as of November 1st, stopped selling gas-powered stuff.
Yes.
So anything we buy in the future, blowers or edgers or string trimmers, they will have to be electric. Even the chainsaws, we can't get gas-powered chainsaws anymore. So from here on out, we won't be using anything gas-powered once our current equipment fails and we go and purchase new stuff.
Right, and I know some of them they're getting much better and better, and then they're also coming up with charging systems where they can charge multiple batteries at one time.
Yes.
I'm on the Air Quality Management Board, and I see more and more transitioning to the electric mowers and the blowers and so forth. Plus, the volume and the noise levels are much lower than some of the gas-powered engines. So it'd be interesting to see, again, how we navigate that and slowly reduce our carbon burning engines and move to the electric ones. So thank you for your job in the parks. Appreciate that. No other comment?
Yeah, I'd just like to say that every time I hear your presentation, it's more and more impressive. It's pretty incredible because we keep adding more grass, more streets, more everything, and hopefully more employees to help out. But the point is like, it's pretty incredible what all of you do. I'm really impressed, and I know everybody is whenever we see this presentation. And like I said, every year it gets more and more impressive. One thing I want to point out that, I don't know, I've seen it on social media, is how great our parks are maintained. But the problem with people walking their dogs, like at sports complexes and, you know, picking up after their feces, and some people do and some people don't, but really dogs shouldn't be on there at all, you know, either way. Because even if you pick it up, that's kind of gross, kids playing whatever sport, and, you know, a dog had just urinated there or defecated there, even if it was picked up. So I want to remind the public to not use, especially sports facilities, and the dog park at Essex should be opening soon, and to use that facility. But it's been a big problem, and I think you all agree, correct? Yes, we do. Okay. So anyway, well, thanks a lot. We appreciate all that you do.
Sure. Great report, you guys. It gets better all the time, and it sure is a far cry from the old days with the equipment that you're showing us now, and your ability to get things done and do it at a quality level. I guess we're going to have to get used to not seeing Robert and Rusty this time of year on these reports, but. Joe and Dave and James, great job on the report. I did have one question on the parks, and I know that what you showed us is not everything that you do. You couldn't get all that in there, but I did have a question from the public on the tennis courts, the maintenance on those, washing those, sweeping those. What's the routine on that, or the schedule on that?
We weren't able to keep up as much as we'd like with that through the summer months. We had some people out over the summer and being short-staffed, but recently we've started blowing off the courts every Tuesday afternoon. We just started that a couple weeks ago, and we're going to try to stick with that, and we're going to try and wash them down with the water broom as much as possible. We hope to start doing that more often. It's
Okay, I
something
appreciate
that's
that.
needed.
All right, thank you. Great report, guys.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, awesome report, really informative. It's absolutely amazing how much asphalt you move, how many floors you wax, how many trees you trim, and all that sort of, it's incredible amount of work. Wanted to ask, is there anything that the council can look into to help reduce the amount of vandalism? With things like, and can you tell me a little bit about dollar amounts that we think we might be losing due to vandalism that could have been used to other things? Would things like cameras or more surveillance type things be of use? Can you fill me in a little bit about trends in vandalism, what you see happening?
Summertime is definitely worse. It's slowed down a little bit recently. Our main thing is when we see it, we take care of it. We do, when we get the major vandalism, we do rely on some camera footage and the police reports and their help. We could probably use more and higher quality cameras in some locations. They've been of some assistance at times. But I think it could be improved, and I think there could be more.
Are there particular places that are more likely to have vandalism or higher percentage of the vandalism occurs at?
Yeah, here at the community center, we get most of or a good portion of our vandalism. Brim 2 has been hit quite often recently over the summer, and that's probably our second highest damaged area. Could use some cameras over there. We're hoping to incorporate some of that type of stuff with the new aquatic center, maybe incorporate that into the Brim 2 bathroom area and community center there.
Okay. Thank you. Awesome job, everybody.
Well, Joe and Dave, you guys did pretty good filling in for Robert and Rusty. That was pretty good transition, but you got some ways to go because they have a lot of content and they've been doing this a few years. But you guys did fantastic tonight, thanks. And you too, James, coming in here, filling in for us, catching up. I still remember a couple things, 150 square miles, 20 acres, and then 75,000 square feet. That's a lot for the smaller crews that we have. But now I'd like to go ahead and give the public an opportunity. Anybody have any comments or questions from the public on our fantastic cruise? Yeah, come on up, please. Feel free to make any comments.
When will the Essex Dog Park reopen?
So staff has been working on that.
We're hoping for the third week in November, and we'll be having an update and press release and public information coming out in the next few days.
Mayor, if I may, will the Public Works staff please stand up? These are the professionals that we work with every day. I'm honored to work with them. I never seen a group of people really care about their residents and their needs in the community. I worked in a bigger and a smaller, local government but these dedicated people is the best that you can find. So we're going to be losing 2 of them for retirement, but still, we still have a very good crew. We're trying to build it as much as we can to make sure that they are really addressing the need of the community. Thank you very much for that.
Absolutely, you're welcome. And thanks again, all of you, for everything you do. That you're the face of it, Yucca Valley, keeping it looking good. Appreciate it, yep. Especially you two. Yeah, the first year we did that, you talk about some nervous workers up there.
They've really improved in their
They've gotten
public
so good
speaking.
that now they've delegated it to other people. So I love that report every year. It really gives us a good example of what's going on in this community. Moving on to item number 18, our year-end budget report and allocation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's nice to see you all this evening.
Good
If you could just
evening.
let me know that you can hear and see me well, I'll share my screen.
Yep, you're ready to go.
Perfect. So, I believe I need access. Perfect. All right. I will be reviewing the fiscal year in 2022-23 budget report and excess reserve allocations. I'll begin with an actual to budget recap for the fiscal year end June 30, 2023. Starting with revenues, actual revenues were higher than budgeted expectations. You'll see there that total revenues for the year equaled $20.2 million. Budgeted expectations were at just over $18 million. Estimates were conservative for the 23 budget. We were expecting revenue streams to kind of slow down a bit at the year, but activity remained consistent through year end. And then we also had higher than expected TOT revenues due to the Measure K increase. It continued to grow through year end. And then we also had higher than expected investment revenues through year end. You'll see these sales tax revenue trends here, starting in 2010 all the way through 2023. Through fiscal year end 23, the sales tax revenues have continued to grow. You'll see that it's returned to kind of its normal pace after that huge jump in 2021. We do expect sales tax to slow down a bit with the current economic trends, but they should remain at current levels through the next budget year. Here you'll see trends for transient occupancy tax revenues. These demonstrated tremendous growth after the implementation of the town's short-term vacation rental ordinance. And then additional revenues were seen this year and grew quite a bit as we passed Measure K, with an effective tax rate increase to 12% as of January 1st of 2023. So we will expect TOT to be again slightly higher this year, as we'll have a full year of that higher tax rate. And then total TOT revenues equaled $3.75 million at year end. I just wanted to mention 90% of that was from short-term vacation rentals at $3.36 million. The town's major revenue sources are all well balanced. We used to be more like 50% property tax revenues, and then the rest was made up of the other sources. As of this year, the town's at 35% property tax, 25% is sales tax revenues, 26% is a combination of franchise and TOT, and then the remainder is the town service fees and charges. So this is looking at a comparison of 22-23 to the prior year. You'll see in comparison to the prior year, revenues grew by 16% or $2.8 million. Majority of this revenue growth was due to the higher TOT rate and increased interest and admin revenues. The prior fiscal year did have a one-time fair market value loss that dropped revenues slightly. So that was a one-time, another reason why it was slightly lower last year than this year. But again, it's tremendous amount of growth that we can see in total revenues. Jumping over to expenditures, you'll see here, there we go. Expenditures were less than budgeted expectations due to cost savings across departments. It's good timing to see the public works crew. You can see how much time and effort they put into everything. All of the departments across the town are so cost conscious in everything that they do. So when you look at operating supplies and services, you see a cost savings of $400,000 in comparison to budget. A big part of that is due to town staff being so conscious of their spending and doing so much themselves when they could potentially spend more contracting it out. And then the other portion of that would be just a conservative estimation on budget. So for personnel services, those were lower than budget due to several Tier 1 employees retiring. That shows cost savings in the pension costs, and then obviously cost savings as you recruit newer employees who are at a lower salary level than the Tier 1 employees. And then also there were just variances with vacancies throughout the year. So jumping over to just a breakdown of types of expenditures, contract safety, personnel, and operating, they're all roughly 30% of the town's budget. The general fund balance in total increased from 18.5 million to 22 million at year end. The total revenue over expenditures was $5 million, and there was a net increase to the fund balance of 3.6 million. That's after transfers out for the annual debt service payments and the transfers out for reserve allocations. There was a one-time transfer in this year of just over 2.5 million for the ARPA funding. That was to help offset public safety costs. That also helped to attribute to the larger excess reserve allocation that we have in the recommendation this evening. So you'll see as of year end, the total unrestricted reserves are at 93% of budgeted expenditures. So in accordance with the town's reserve policy, staff is recommending a reduction of the general fund reserve balance to 64% by allocating 4.5 million in total allocations as follows. So we're recommending a $500,000 allocation to the pension stabilization reserves, $500,000 to the aquatics and recreation facility reserve. That would bring that total reserve balance to 1 million, which is the recommendation within the town's reserve policy. 500,000 to replenish the vehicle and equipment replacement reserves, and then a total of $3,050,000 to capital reserves, for a total again of 4.5 million. A quick review of the town's pension funding will assist the council in understanding the current year's departure from a 50% allocation of excess funds to pension reserves. You'll see here, this is the town's funded status. We work with GovInvest to help us keep kind of an up-to-date assessment of the town's valuation. CalPERS is able to provide us funding status of their liability and their market assets. GovInvest helps us to incorporate the town's 115 trust that we have and their balance, and then also any current assumptions rather than looking kind of CalPERS looks in the past. So you'll see here, as of 2023, the total funded status is at 87.3%. They're assuming that the CalPERS will have an actual return of 5.8. We should receive updated numbers for that in November, which will help town staff to determine how best to allocate those pension reserves, if it's to the trust or additional contributions to CalPERS. This is just a comparison of the town of Yucca Valley to other agencies. So at 87% this year, most agencies are at around 72%. Tier 1 from the CalPERS most recent actuarial reports that they sent out is at 75%. Tier 2 is funded at 90%, and Tier 3 is funded at 88%. So we would expect those funding levels to go up as we make the additional reserve allocations to pension and potentially make an additional payment to either the trust or CalPERS, or put those funds into additional investment options.
Wow.
So after this evening's recommended actions, reserves will be at 64% of the fiscal year 23-24 budgeted expenditures. And then those funds that are moving to the capital project reserve fund, they will increase the fund balance to 7.3 million. Fleet reserves again will be increased to that $500,000 balance. And then there's unassigned infrastructure reserves, which kind of makes up the rest of that balance. I did want to mention the 7 million is in addition to what we already have budgeted in reserves, which are in the capital project reserve fund. We currently have 1.7 million of capital projects that are in that for fiscal year 23-24. So just to recap, the recommended actions is to receive and file the budget report for the fiscal year end June 30, 2023, and to amend the 2023-24 general fund budget and special revenue fund budget by transferring 4.5 million from the general fund unassigned fund balance in accordance with the reserve policy and as identified in the exhibits in your agenda. With that, I'll stop screen sharing and answer any questions after public comment.
Thank you, Jordan, for the report. This time, we'll go ahead and open it up for public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that'd like to speak on this item tonight? Seeing none, I'll look for online. Nothing there. We can go ahead and bring it back to council for discussion.
Can we stand up and jump and shout and say Yahoo? I mean, my gosh, that was awesome. Great job, Jordan. Absolutely excellent. It's remarkable that things have worked out so well, and I'm sure that a lot of it is due to the proper management and distribution of the funds, and we are very proud of the job that you've done. Thank you.
Councilmember Abel, you have a comment? No, I don't see any. Anything down there?
No. I recommend that
Look
we
for a
approve.
motion. We're looking for a recommendation, as Jordan said, it'll be the recommendation to receive and file the budget report for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023, and then amend the 23-24 general budget fund and special revenue fund budget by transferring $4,550,000 from the general fund unassigned fund balance in accordance with the reserve policy as follows and identified in Exhibit A.
So moved.
Mayor Pro Tem move, second on it?
I will second.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
Councilmembers Abel,
Yes.
Droz,
Yes.
Lombardo,
Absolutely, yes.
Schooler,
Yes.
and Mayor Dennison.
Yes. And thank you, Jordan, and the rest of the staff for the great
You
work.
bet.
We'll move on to item number 19, approval of ARPA funding contract between the town and San Bernardino County.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Super excited to come to you with this item this evening. As you know, and you saw some of the pictures this evening about the pickleball courts that we have at Jacobs, that was a temporary solution. Due to community concerns and community requests to have a pickleball facility in the town of Yucca Valley, which we didn't have. So we converted one court into 4 courts as a kind of a 2-year trial. We know that they're busy all of the time. And so we know that pickleball is here to stay and likely continuing to grow. So with that, we had the opportunity to engage with our 3rd District County Supervisor, Chair Rao, and she and her team were very supportive of a pickleball complex that might be in the Morongo Basin to serve as a regional facility. They looked at a number of different options and identified as Yucca Valley as maybe the ideal place for that, given our geographical location and the population base. But we also serve as a regional provider of a lot of our recreation services. So through the availability of ARPA funds, they've identified a budget of approximately $1.6 million that might be available, or that will be available, for the delivery of a pickleball complex. Right now, our best estimate is going to be here at the community center on the north side. We'll be looking at the area immediately north of this Yucca room. We'll look at site planning, identifying its coordination with a skate park replacement or addition that the council has already directed that staff look at. We also know that we have some infrastructure needs there, as well as a desire to see maybe some added parking. Whether all of that can be delivered in this budget, we're not certain, but we'll definitely be able to move forward with the pickleball complex. So the requirements for ARPA funding in this cycle is that the project is under contract by this time next year, 2024, and completed by 2026. So these are fast-moving projects, very similar to what the council previously authorized in our modernization project with the Yucca Valley Senior Center. Again, grateful for Supervisor Rao, her support for this project, and getting us in touch with county staff who walked us through the rest of the paperwork project. So with that, be happy to answer other questions after public comment.
Thank you, staff, for that. And this is a public hearing, so if there's anyone in the public that would like to speak on this item, it's your opportunity. Anyone online? Okay, seeing nothing, then we'll go ahead and just close the public hearing portion of it, and we'll bring it back to council for discussion. Comments?
Yeah, with this project and so forth, you said we had a 2-year pilot program there at the other tennis courts and so forth. So I'm assuming once these get built, then we will return that court back to a tennis
That would
facility?
be our plan, yes.
Okay. And then as far as the county supervisor, I do appreciate very much her thoughtfulness in providing these funds. It really makes sense since we've really proven the concept that there's plenty of people out here that want to participate in that recreational activity. And the staff and also some volunteers and some other community members have gotten really behind the pickleball movement and so forth, and they've made it a success. So because of their efforts and staff's efforts, and also the council being willing to do a pilot program, it's reaped plenty of rewards. So $1.6 million reward. So I'm very, very pleased to see this happening, and I do think the location is going to be vitally important, and I do think as we look to different sites, I really do hope that the community center is the one that's selected, because it would be further away from any homes, and the noise level of pickleball can be a little bit loud for residents. So anyway, thank the county supervisor for helping us with these funds, and hopefully we'll get a good bid process going on this one.
Very good. Comments from?
I really have no comments, except this is really incredible and a nice surprise. So thank you, staff, for all the hard work.
Councilmember
Yeah,
Schooler?
this is a nice surprise and good timing, given our pilot program over at Jacobs Park. I would like to take the opportunity to thank the tennis players and the Morongo Basin Tennis Association for going along with the pilot program and for their patience in allowing us to come up with a solution, but the timing is great. Thank you to Supervisor Rao. We were able to move forward on this pretty quickly, and we'll be able to deliver pickleball and return that other court to tennis, and hopefully everybody be happy for a little while. So,
Boy, this has got to be the council meeting with the most happy news ever. It seems like one report after another, and they're all great. And I'm really excited to see this. And thanks to Chairman Rao, the county supervisors, and her thoughtfulness to find a way to get this moved along. It's great. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd just like to also thank the Morongo Basin Tennis Association. This was kind of an experiment for our community. There was some interest in pickleball. We worked with them and, kept those courts running, the pickleball court, and it's time to follow through. As we said, we wanted to try it out and get a good one. And Chair Rao, our supervisor for our district, has been very understanding and pays close attention to our community and the basin as a whole. So seeing this as another opportunity to partner with the county, I think is a wonderful opportunity for us to move the sport of pickleball forward, and maybe I'll have to give it a try. We'll see. I don't know if I have that kind of skill, but this is a really, really good opportunity. So
Mayor, if I might, before you take your action on the item, I just want to commend our town staff for their effort in moving this forward. From the time that we began the conversation with San Bernardino County to the time that we started to have conversations with the contracting folks that are doing the ARPA funding at the county was 48 hours. And in that time, we were able to identify what the need was, what the purpose was, a potential location, potential layout concepts, and provide that information back to the county through Alex and Shane and their teams and Sue and her team. And everybody was on board with this, got it turned around, 48 hours we were done. So very, very thankful to town staff for their timeliness.
yes, absolutely. That's a lot of work. We have so many projects going at this time too, so I appreciate you breaking away for the importance. So with that, I'll go ahead and make the motion. As staff has recommended, we recommend that approves the proposed contract between the town of San Bernardino County related to the American Rescue Action Plan, providing $1.6 million in coronavirus relief fund dollars towards the town's community center pickleball project.
second.
Got a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Who was the second?
Councilmember
Schooler was second.
Councilmembers Abel?
Yes.
Droz?
Yes.
Lombardo?
Yes.
Schooler?
Yes.
And Mayor Dennison.
Yes. We're on to item number 20. We've been waiting for this, so thank you very much. Everyone was enjoying your display also earlier.
Yeah, everybody likes a little trash talk. So good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. This evening, it's my pleasure to discuss with you the Town of Yucca Valley's Organics Recycling Program rollout. So the recommendation before you is that the Town Council receive and file information about the rollout of the Town of Yucca Valley's organic recycling programs as required under SB 1383. So just a brief overview. We've been talking about SB 1383 for quite some time now. And 1383, for those of you who have been living under a rock for the last 4 years or so, 1383 is legislation from the state of California that requires every city to implement organic waste recycling collection services for all residents and businesses. The law was signed by Governor Brown in 2016, and it aims to address climate change by reducing the state's methane emissions that comes from the landfills. The law grants regulatory authority to Cal Recycle, and they developed 127 pages of regulations for the town to follow and come up with programs for. The waste reduction goals of SB 1383 are established and imposed on town residents and businesses through California state law and are not optional to the town. So with that, I want to talk about what our rollout is going to look like for Yucca Valley. Originally, we had planned to roll it out in July of this year, but due to truck shortages and some logistics issues, we had to push it out. And so our rollout is going to be in January of 2024. So over the next couple of months, organics program information is going to be provided to all commercial, multifamily, and residential dwellings. This information is going to be provided in a variety of ways, such as site visits, letters, postcards, flyers that will be mailed and handed out. There will be employee tenant training. There will be webinars, a live food scrap demonstration, and information on the town's website. It can always be found there. So I'm going to go in a little bit more deep information about our commercial and multifamily rollout. So commercial will get about 3 site visits. The businesses will get about 3 site visits between November and January. The first visit is going to explain the program, be provided this flyer, and identify kind of what they're doing now and where the bins will go, et cetera. The second visit will be a little more of a detailed visit. It's going to let them know that the program's starting in January, see where they are currently, kind of what they're doing in the back of the house now, and also schedule training for staff. The third visit will be more in January, and they'll see how the program is going, make sure the organics bins are being used, and provide additional information. The third flyer that I put up there is going to be for the multifamily, who will also be getting about 3 site visits between November and January. They will be provided with an introduction letter from the town, identify areas to drop off the bins, provided with this flyer, and reminded that the program's starting in January, set up for training for their residents and tenants. And then the third visit will be in January, which will see how the program's going, provide additional resources, answer any questions they might have, et cetera. For residential, this postcard here will be mailed out to all commercial and residential properties. So as you can see, it's in English and Spanish, which is a requirement of the law as well. So all of our education materials that you've seen tonight will be in English and Spanish. It provides detailed information as to what is considered organic waste, what is considered green waste, and what are you going to do with it. Then also a flyer will be mailed out to all residential properties along with a letter from the town explaining about what our organics program is going to be and when it's going to be starting. It's going to answer questions like, when is your organic recycling day, which is going to be the same as your regular trash day. It's also going to explain to you what you need to do with your food, how do you separate it, that type of thing. And then also we have prepared for our welcome kits for new residents, this organics recycling flyer that will go in our welcomes kit that we have now for anybody that's new to the town and needs to understand what our trash and recycling programs are here in town. And if you notice on the bottom of the middle flyer there, we talks about a kitchen corner. We're also going to have some other marketing materials prepared as well. These are actually all getting printed right now and soon to be going out. on how to get your kitchen pail, and that's what I have right in front of me here, right here. So what we're offering is these are available for free from Burtec, one per household. The town is going to be providing a couple of liners with the first 2,000 pails that are issued out to anybody. But we're going to have this postcard available on our town website and also at our town hall. And so basically anybody can call once the program gets started in January. You call and you can ask for, well, your free pail, and this is what you could use to separate your organics in your home, your food waste. So when you get your pail, this is the flyer that would be inside of it. It will explain to you how to, where you should set it, how you should line it, what you put into it, and then how you put it out into your green bin. Some of the other marketing tools that we have right now are going to be an FAQ page. I have some of them that I printed out and I put into the back there and also on our table by the town clerk. This will be located on our website as well, and also we will have these available at town hall, but it will answer a lot of the questions that you may have. We also have some other marketing things that are happening. We've got this big stanchion sign that we have in the back there. I brought it down here to the town council meeting. We're going to have that in the lobby of town hall, along with an example of the recycling or the organics recycling cart that everybody will be receiving. So that is the 65-gallon cart that you will be receiving at your home. And it also has the stanchions where it has QR codes that you can scan and you can be taken to a video or to the town's website for more information. We're also offering 2 live webinars. The first one is going to be this Thursday, November 9th at 5:30 p.m. The link will be on our town's website. We also have it on these cards that we have at Town Hall. I have some of them by the town clerk's table as well, so anyone can pick this up. But it's a free webinar. We encourage you to sign into it and listen. It's going to be hosted by me and by Clara from Burtec. And it's going to go over a little bit about SB 1383, what the town's programs are going to be, when they're going to be starting, and how it's going to affect everybody and what needs to be done for compliance. And at the end of these webinars, there's also going to be some question and answer time. So if anyone has any questions, we will be happy to answer those questions for them. So there's 2 webinars. Like I said, the first one's this Thursday at 5:30. The second one will be in December at 10 a.m. We're also going to be having a live food scrap demonstration right here in the Yucca room on January 27th at 10 a.m. And that's just an opportunity for people to get a free kitchen pail if they'd like, and to maybe see what it would be like to make a meal and what scraps go where. So let's say we decide to make some salsa. We're going to cut the cilantro, the stems, instead of going into your trash like it normally would, you're going to put it into your kitchen pail or your plastic bag or whatever the case might be. So it's just a change in mindset of where you're putting your food scraps, I should say. So we hope that you can join us in January for that live food scrap demonstration. We also have a pretty robust dedicated organics recycling webpage. So it's pretty easy to get to. After this presentation, I'm going to actually pull up a live shot of our live website so you guys can see exactly how to get to it and what it looks like. But you just go to yucca-valley.org/organics, and we have a lot of information on there. But until then, I wanted to play this video that will explain a lot about how our SB 1383 program is going to work and what is considered food waste.
Have you heard about Senate Bill 1383? The California Senate passed a law to improve air quality and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. This new California law will require all residents to participate in the food waste recycling program. How does it work? Residential customers will begin placing their bagged food waste into their green barrel, along with their green waste. Food waste collection is already part of your service. We just ask that it is sorted differently. What is food waste? Fruits, eggshells, bread, rinds, cooked meat and seafood, bones, vegetables, food soiled paper, coffee grounds, and plate scrapings are all considered food waste. How will it work in your home? You will begin collecting food waste in its own plastic-lined container, separate from your other waste and recycling. We encourage you to use containers you may already have, such as coffee cans, small buckets, bins, or small waste baskets. We recommend a container with a lid to reduce odor. Place your container on your countertop, under your sink, or even in your freezer. Remember to bag all food waste, regardless of how you choose to collect it. We encourage you to reuse bags you may already have, such as bread bags or produce bags. Bags do not need to be compostable or biodegradable. Once full, please secure your plastic bag and place it in your green waste barrel. Please continue to use your green waste barrel as usual. Some items are not acceptable. This includes trash, metal, liquids, batteries, hazardous waste, electronic waste, animal waste, diapers, glass, and paint. Once collected, your food waste will be sorted and processed for composting at one of our material recovery facilities, where it will be turned into mulch, soil amendments, and landscaping material. Your efforts go a long way in closing the loop on sustainability and reducing waste in California. Thank you for doing your part.
So, that is one of the videos that we have on our website. We have some others as well, but I thought that would be good because it kind of explains to you what exactly is organic waste, because some people are confused. I myself did not realize coffee grounds were considered organic waste, and so that would go into your lined pail inside your kitchen. So I wanted to also discuss real quickly some other components of SB 1383 that staff has been working on. Edible food programs. The town is required to also, under SB 1383, develop and enforce an edible food program. We are required to identify Tier 1 and Tier 2 food generators. And so what we have done is we actually have an MOU in place right now with San Bernardino County Environmental Health Services to help provide the assistance with our edible food program and to also provide the enforcement for it as well. They're already going out and providing health permit checks, so it's a good opportunity for them to provide the information that the town requires and to inspect what these food generators have in place already. And some of the requirements that the commercial edible food generators have to have is they have to have a contract or written agreement with an edible food recovery partner to recover the maximum amount of edible food that would be disposed of. They need to keep a list of each food recovery organization or service that receives or collects the edible food and maintain copies of these contracts. And they also have to keep a record of the following, which is the name, address, and contact information of the service or organization that's collecting their food, the types of food that will be collected, the frequency it will be collected, and the pounds of edible food per month that is collected. And they have to provide all of that information to the town, which we then have to keep track of in record, in order to report it to Cal Recycle. So that brings me to my next thing is record keeping. It's a lot. Every single program that we have in place with SB 1383, we have a major record keeping component tied to it. That is in the regulations. All of this record keeping must be made available to Cal Recycle within 10 days of request. So we have worked with Burtech to have a software that's called Recyclist that will help us keep track of all of these records and allow us to print reports and different things like that in order to make sure that we can comply with that 10-day request. So we've been putting all of this together over the last year or so and getting ready for all of this to go out over the next couple of months. So again, the recommendation is that the town council receive and file the information about the rollout of the town of Yucca Valley's organic recycling programs as required under SB 1383. And before I take questions, I do want to pull up the town's website real quick that I talked about. Okay, so if you're on the main web page of the town's website, it's really easy to get to our organics page. You just hover over services, you scroll right down to SB 1383 Organics Recycling, click on that, and it pulls up our website here. Here's some of the videos. We watched the one on the right there, but it talks a lot about, can you go back up to the top real quick? Right there under latest news, we have our information about our organics recycling webinar. That's going to be this Thursday at 5 o'clock. So you can click on that link to get to the link for the actual webinar. And if you scroll down, there's resources, Cal Recycle's website links, different things like that, mailers that we've gone out. There's different categories for if you're a resident, if you're a multifamily, if you're a business. And if you scroll down some more, we have some frequently asked questions on there as well that will answer a lot of the questions that you may have about this program. So with that, that is our rollout in a nutshell, and I'd be happy to answer any questions following public comment.
Well, thank you for that update on the progress of the program. This time, it's a public comment time on item number 19, or I'm sorry, item number 20. Any public comment? Seeing none there online? Nothing. I'll bring it back to council. Any council comments?
Another state program that we need to implement, so we don't have any choices on that. The Senate bill and so forth. I was just looking at the Burtech site and talking about the organic guidelines and so forth, and it answers a whole lot of questions. I think the public information outreach is really important. You're doing a great job in making sure people aren't confused. I noticed it says, please bag food waste. So you got a pail there. I guess you use little bags in there and bag it as you collect it and then throw it in the recycling barrel. And also I figured out, hey, you know, some residents got the free hula hoe. Now they can do the weeds and put it right in that organic thing. Yeah, the barrel. So I do know that my trash barrel does get awfully full sometimes when I'm doing trimmings and so forth, as far as small branches and weeds and so forth. So it will give me another option to be able to do that without having to take it all the way to the landfill. And I guess with people that are very sensitive to the environment, this is one more program to help cut down on the carbon and help our landfills not fill up so quickly, and to be able to use this organic material in a more efficient way and so forth. So I do know it's expensive, but we have no other choice but to implement a program. So thank you.
Awful lot of paperwork, it sounds like, too.
This does look like an awful lot of paperwork and a lot of outreach. I appreciate everything that you showed us, but still, I'm skeptical that everybody's going to be educated on time to implement this. So what's the reasonable expectation for everybody to be up and running on this? Not January 1st, it can't be that.
No, carts are going to start going out the middle of January, and they're going to be rolled out over those couple of weeks from mid-January through the end. And then by February 1st, everyone should have their cart, and we should start rocking and rolling with bringing the organics in.
And on the commercial accounts where you see a dumpster, there's going to be another dumpster, or if there's a dumpster and a recycling dumpster, like in an apartment building or something, then they're going to have to make room for another dumpster?
It depends. They're most likely going to have carts. So they might have a little bit of a larger cart than the 65-gallon. They might have the 95-gallon carts there. But it depends on how much organics, like if it's a restaurant and they are supposed to be diverting a lot of their what would be edible food to the edible food program. So the restaurants kind of have organics two different ways. They have to do edible food program requirements, and then they also have to do the stuff that is not edible and can't be donated somewhere else. They have to then properly dispose of the organics. So depending on how large of a bin that they need, if it's too much organics, the bin actually gets so heavy that it tips the trucks. So because it's wet, it usually, you've got vegetable peelings and wet food. And so it actually gets very heavy when you're filling like even just a 2-yard dumpster. It can get very heavy. And it actually has happened when all of this started rolling out with 1826, where the trucks were tipping. It was too heavy for them to lift it. So usually it would be a cart, and then depending on, for example, multifamily complexes like mobile home parks or something like that, if there's room for a small dumpster, they might use that, but it's probably going to be a series of carts that are more manageable, and people are able to put their stuff in there.
Okay, and you mentioned coffee. What about K-cups from the Keurig?
So
How do those get classified?
Yeah, so they're not so much. The plastic part itself is not organic, but the grounds inside are. So if you want to ream it out and dump the grounds in, and then you would recycle the plastic part of it.
Okay, no, good work. I think this is going to be an enormous public outreach project here.
Yeah.
But thank you.
It's different, for sure, for people. It's a mindset.
Any other
I
comments?
just want to say thank you, Jessica, for a nice, clear presentation on a complicated subject. So I'm involved in this a little bit on the Solid Waste Advisory Board, and it's complicated, and I don't know how quick, to be honest, I don't know how quickly people are going to be doing this, but I hope it works out okay.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Right.
But thank you for doing that.
Sure.
You said we had a little late rollout because of some items that came out. We're not going to be penalized or receive any fines for not being able to implement this until January? are we?
No, the town, we also submitted a notice of intent. If you recall, I think it was last year sometime, we provided that to Cal Recycle, letting them know what our plan was going to be. That was originally when we were going to have it start in July, and then we had to push that out a little further. Cal Recycle was very understanding because there were other cities that were having the same problem with the truck shortages and stuff and things like that. So, no, we're not going to get any penalties from Cal Recycle. They are on board. In fact, I meet with them every month on where we're at with our program rollout and what it is we're doing, and then when we expect to have certain things done at certain timeframes.
Couple of questions on it. One, food scraps, I mean, that adds up pretty fast for, large producers like restaurants and stuff. That's a pretty big bin if, you don't have a lot going on. But I was thinking, I'm looking down the road later about just mitigation because smell becomes one thing with organics. That's the methane release. That's kind of the whole purpose of it. I'm hoping that people are understanding when they run out of bags, how all that works. That would be a big concern is that we start to kick the program off because that could become a neighborhood thing in our area in the summertime. Another thing is green waste. It's pretty straight and clear how that works. But as far as dead waste, dried weeds, things like that people clear at the end of the season, I would suppose that could still go in the container because it is organic and it can be decomposed. But I don't believe, it seems like it could go in either can. It goes into either one of them because it doesn't have to go through a digester. I could be wrong. And the other part was apparently plastic's okay to put in the bin because it's asking you to put all of your organics in plastic bags. And I meant for that purpose, not just to throw plastic in. So I would think plastic bottles to get rid of organics like milk and those kinds of products, could you put it inside of a plastic bottle and throw it in there?
No.
How would you do it?
So,
in a plastic bag?
Yeah, it has to be in a plastic bag. And
Milk in a plastic bag? An old bread bag?
Yeah, well, the milk you could pour down your sink. But no, you don't want to use any hard plastics in your organics separation because if you want to use like a regular plastic bag, and the reason for that is because there's specialized machinery at the composting facility that actually grabs that and tears the bag. If they actually went out and they bought special machinery, it tears the bag open, gets the stuff out, and it sends it on its way. So it separates it out from the green waste. So even though you put all your green waste into the green barrel first, and then you take your bagged food scraps, put it on top, it's all dumped at the same time, but then, like I said, when the truck is totally emptied, it separates out the green waste from the bagged food scraps, and then it opens up that bag and gets that stuff out of there and gets rid of the bag.
Okay.
So it's a whole process, but that's how it's done. And to answer your question about, what was your first question? I'm sorry.
Well, the first one I started off with was, piling of food scraps that leak and stuff in the smell.
Oh, yeah,
that
the
wouldn't
smell.
happen.
So think about this, though. Right now, you're putting your food scraps and everything into your trash, and you're putting that outside in your trash barrel. So this is just putting it in a different location. So you're going to be just separating it out from your normal trash, And you can, if you're afraid of the smell inside your house, like the video said, you can put it in like a Ziploc bag, put it in the freezer, and then the morning of trash delivery, put it on top of your green waste that's inside your green container and put it out at the curb. There will be no smell that way. But right now, your food is in its trash bags out in your trash bin right now. So, and in the summer times too.
And one last comment was talked about today. Is dog poop considered organic waste?
No.
Okay.
No. That needs to go in the trash. Yeah, that needs, yeah.
Okay. All right. Got it.
Yes.
Are they anticipating any problems with, we have a lot of coyotes in our environment, food scraps, coyotes, they're going to tear into those cans to try to get that stuff.
Well, again, you're putting your food in your trash right now.
Yeah,
So
and-
do they get into your cans now?
Oh, I see it happen.
Yeah, and sometimes it does. So, I mean, if there are problems with that, you know, people can put a rock on top of their bin
okay, there are
outside.
ways around,
Or keep your food scraps inside your house until the day of, you know, taking it out
I think I
in the
was
freezer.
referring to more of those that leave their cans out overnight, you know, they take them out the evening before.
Yeah, yeah, but again, you just have to kind of remember, you know, your trash barrel right now has food in it.
Yeah,
You
you're
know,
right.
mixed in with other things. So it's just, like, I know, it's hard to kind of wrap your mind around. It's just a complete change of mindset. We haven't ever done this before. So it's different to think, because I thought the same thing. I thought, oh my goodness, the smell, the animals, we're in the desert. But then, you know, the trash is out there now. So you just got to remember, you're just separating it out from the rest of your trash.
Fine, yeah, okay.
So thank you very much, Jessica, for the
You're
update and
welcome.
the answers. This is a receive and file, so
Yes.
we'll go with that, and we'll move on to our final item of the evening, which is our 24 through 26 two-year cycle, strategic planning ideas and initiative rankings. And we have a chart in here, so we'll start off. with
Thank
staff.
you, Mayor, Council. The hour is late, and I don't think that anybody's all that interested in strategic planning, although it can have its place. So we'll go through this relatively quickly. This is not, this should be familiar. Hang on a second. Let me turn this thing on. This is familiar as you've seen it a couple times already. Again, what we're looking at is ideas and initiatives. That's that arrowed oval that you have at the top. We've already done the community livability survey, and then we have council input as well tonight. And so all of that goes into, let me go back here, all of that is the basis that staff uses to develop your strategic plan, which then implements your two-year budget cycle. So that's kind of the process that we're using. And what we went through last time is a quick review of what we heard from the community, so we won't go through that again. And then from that point, we took what we have heard from the council, either collectively at the dais or individually, information that you've given. At your last ideas and initiatives discussion that you had in public, you provided additional input. And so that's how it's differentiated here. The first three were the ones that were existing already. In your last council meeting, you went through and you added these other ones and identified other ideas and initiatives. And you did that for the different categories that we looked at: community livability, infrastructure, and facilities. So from that, then, we took and identified those key ideas and initiatives, listed them out for all of the council to individually take back and go through and do your own ranking. Everybody gets a ranking from 5 being the most important to 1 being the least important. You could only use 2 5s to try and provide some kind of basis where we didn't have everything being a 5. So we did do that. We were successful, although we did have some people that only had 5s and 4s. So at least we had some differentiation. So council did that individually, and that's what we're presenting to you this evening here. And this is by average ranking for those ideas and initiatives that the council identified. The first 4 that we've identified in your staff report this evening are kind of separated from the rest of them that come through. They are individually ranked from, I think, 4.8 to 3.6, if I can see that right. And then 3.4, there's a whole grip of them, and those are the ones that are highlighted in that goldenrod color for your kind of second tier ideas and initiatives. And so The four that we've identified ensure long-term fiscal stability of the town. From staff's perspective, thank you, by the way, for that vote of confidence. I think that you heard that this evening in your financial report. We always like to hear that because then we know that the recommendations that come back to you are based on the long-term fiscal stability of the town. So appreciate that. And then the three other ones that we heard: beautification of public spaces along Highway 62, very important. New this year in terms of its priority ranking was the idea of further development of a dirt road maintenance policy, particularly as it relates to major arterials in town. And then also new this year, and I think as you've heard presentations this evening, and we know that we have a number of folks retiring, is making sure that the town is doing what it needs to do to have comprehensive succession planning. In that whole next grip of priorities, these are all ranked the same. Everything from new community townwide events, town event coordination, developing, again, additional policy, direction on dirt road management, adding select new roads into the town's maintained system. There was a conversation on what we can do to engage with Caltrans on a couple of different specifics on Highway 247, one being expansion up in the Western Hills area, as well as continuing to work with them on a safe passing lane, wayfinding, and then development of a pickleball complex, which we're glad to see that moving forward in tonight's agenda. Next step, after we look at those, again, what the council can do this evening is, by the way, if there's something on the list that you saw that you want to discuss with your fellow council members, you're welcome to do that this evening, and you can add or change or whatever you want to do. What we'll do is, after that, we will take those priorities, we'll build them into your strategic plan. And it doesn't mean just because something didn't receive a top priority that it's not in your strategic plan. It may be in your strategic plan, but it may have a priority of low or medium as opposed to high. We can only have so many that have high, otherwise we're not going to be able to deliver those priorities to you. So that will move forward. It'll come back to you in December with your updated strategic plan. Upon the council's approval of that strategic plan, then that's our path forward in developing your two-year budget cycle, which will occur from February, coming back to the council for the two-year adoption in May. So with that, I'll open to questions after public comment on this item.
Thank you very much for that. And this is your opportunity for public comment on our last item, item number 21.
Mayor, we have a request to speak by Mr. Jerry Merrick.
All right, thank you.
Hello. First, I'd like to thank you for your time here. I want to apologize. I'm not real comfortable with public speaking, but I'm real passionate about access to my property, and so I've decided to come out here and embarrass myself. But my name is Jerry Merrick. I live on Avalon Avenue, a major artery in most of Yucca, but the city doesn't maintain it on the north side of the main wash that goes through Yucca. The road comes right up to the edge of the wash and stops. Well, I live on the other side. To move on with the story, like I said, I'm not very good with public speaking, but someone's bought all the property on the east side of our neighborhood, 145 acres. They were going to develop it and do what, I don't know, but in the process, they've built a huge fence that surrounds the entire property. It closes off the only smooth, consistently passable road into our neighborhood. Now, the project's gone defunct, the property's up for sale again, but that road is still closed off. We have to use Avalon to get in and out of the neighborhood now, and there's two things that make Avalon a terrible road. One is that pavement on the south side comes right up to the edge of the wash. There's a downgrade there, and all the runoff comes down that pavement, has not been mitigated in any way, and every time we get any moisture, it totally destroys that road. So it's really hard to use. We have to go down and maintain it every time it rains. The other thing that the city's done that has caused that road to be terrible is that west of there, upstream if you will, the whole wash has been graded, cemented in, and streamlined to where now when we get a major storm, it creates a current through that one portion that hasn't been streamlined, that digs the wash deeper and makes it rougher every time, and it's just getting worse and worse. So now that's our major access. We have to use that road to come in and out of our neighborhood. Now, as I look at maps, that's the public access to our property. But like I say, they've paved it right up to the edge of the pavement, or right up to the edge of the wash, and then and then just left it. So we need somebody to help us maintain that road. Another thing that's made our road more important is there's 4 or 5 new houses up in that neighborhood. There's 8 to 10 vacation rentals that are running out of that neighborhood now. They've allowed a Buddhist temple to be built up there. So traffic has just expanded, but our road is worse. And they've denied us access on a smooth road that goes down to Avalon to get through the wash. I'm sorry, but I believe we deserve access to our property. And I believe, you know, emergency vehicles can't even get into our neighborhood a lot of times.
Well, I appreciate your comments, and it is one of the items on our list that we're trying to prioritize, and I really appreciate your comments for coming here personally and telling us the importance to you for that road and access.
We're all neighbors that live up in there.
Actually,
Neighbor. We all have the same problem.
And I believe you've spoken to the town manager, you've had communication with him.
I talked to Mr. Ghost. He's been very helpful.
Okay.
I wrote a letter to everyone. The other thing is, though, that I went to the city Safety and Planning Commission. They did nothing. They blew me off 3 times. I went in and complained about being blown off.
Well, I think that was kind of the explanation, and that's why we're bringing this forward today. We're talking about, it's number 3 on the list you saw in the red.
Yes.
We're talking about major
I did see
dirt
that,
roads.
and that's why I'm here today.
And we're here to start discussing those matters and make it a little more formal. So I
All right.
appreciate your comments today.
I appreciate
much.
that. When I went to the city Planning and Safety Commission, like I say, they blew me off. My one problem became 3 problems. And I understand that this isn't the time for me to talk about that. I'll wait until the end of the committee meeting. But yeah, it turned into 3 problems.
Yeah, you can always reach back out to staff or any of the council members.
Okay, yeah.
And continue with Councilmember
All right,
Rose.
thank
Thank you
you.
very much. Appreciate it. Anybody else like to speak on this item number 21 on our prioritization of projects? Anyone online? Nothing? Back to council?
Yeah, one thing that the town manager mentioned was that when we were going through the survey, if there was an item that we wanted to add, and it wasn't on the list, that we could possibly add that item.
Yes, sir.
And one of the things I was thinking afterwards and after I did the survey was continue to acquire right-of-way easements along Anaga Trail. So in other words, have we done the Safe Routes to School project, and as we've gotten sidewalks and we've done the shoulder improvement, it'd be nice to continue to acquire right-of-ways along that road so that when the next a bit of funding might come about, we're already ahead of the game. And we all know that that road eventually needs to have sidewalks and widening all the way down. So that was one of the things I thought I wanted to add to the list, but I ended up not doing it. But that would be something for strategic planning in the future to continue to work on getting right-of-ways.
Well, thank you. Yeah, go ahead, Councilmember Rose.
Could we pull up the slide of all of our votes, the council member votes?
Sure.
What they voted for?
Yeah.
So I noticed Councilmember Abel only has one number 5. So could he give that to me so I could have 3? Okay, never mind. But if you notice, I didn't put the fiscal thing number 1 because I knew the town is already on a good fiscal path. And everything I stated was basically dirt road maintenance, major arterial, and the other one was Highway 247 because that's getting so traveled. I mentioned this before, how they're going to have the train station in Victorville from Los Angeles to Las Vegas, and people are going to be coming from Palm Springs and going up there, and that's supposed to be part of it complete anyway in 5 years. So we need to start thinking about widening Highway 247. But the other thing is the maintenance of dirt roads. The town's doing okay financially, we can see that, and it's time to start thinking about dirt roads and the maintenance. So that's why, but I want to explain why I didn't put fiscal stability first, because I felt like we're on the right track already. So that's it. Thank you.
Mayor, if I might just jump in here, I think it's appropriate since we had some public comment on dirt roads in this issue. I want to make sure that we identify ideas and initiatives in the right context. So I'm going to have Shane talk a little bit about what we see as differences between a strategic idea of major arterial dirt road maintenance policy development, what some of the long-term solutions we might be able to develop either for the council's consideration or the community's consideration if it has a financial component to it, versus what is, in many of our areas around town, challenges with private property access. Completely two different things. So Shane, if you want to just touch a little bit more on that, I think that'd be helpful for the council and the community to hear.
Just very briefly, if I can do it at this late hour. The town spent 12 years following incorporation discussing policies of dirt road maintenance. 12 years. Significant amount of time and research. At the end of that time, the then town council adopted a policy based upon all of those facts that dirt roads are only brought into the town's maintained road system when those roads are paved at the cost of the neighborhood. And that was based upon the analysis of the town's ability to maintain a roadway network system, and we'll be coming back as the town council has requested to address those issues. Individual neighborhood issues are many times outside the confines of the policy question of major arterials which serve a larger geographic area. There are 3 primary dirt road neighborhood quadrants within the town: the southwest portion of town, the northeast portion of the town, and the northwest portion of the town. Those are the areas of the highest number of dwelling units and the highest number of miles of non-maintained dirt roads. And as part of staff's follow-up with the council on your request for major arterials, we'll be coming back to you with alternatives into those different neighborhood areas. What are those costs? What do those things look like? What do those programs look like? Some of the comments this evening are technical issues of any form of road maintenance, dirt road neighborhoods. For example, the discussion about Avalon going northbound in Paradise Valley and coming up to the wash. Town didn't create that. That was what we inherited at the time of incorporation. That was designed by the county. It dead ends at the wash. Why does it dead end at the wash? Because the wash is not a road. The wash is not legally a road. It was not legally a road under the jurisdiction of the county of San Bernardino, and it's not legally a road under the jurisdiction of the town of Yucca Valley. Never has been. People have used it as people have driven all kinds of places in the desert over the past 50 and 60 years. But that's never been a roadway, nor will the county allow it to be a roadway. It is a wash. They don't allow the development of roads through their washes. Reference was made to the fencing off of the property owned by Brittlebush. And yes, people used that pathway along the wash, on the north side of the wash, to access the neighborhood that's being discussed this evening. There's no easement there. There was never a dedicated easement there. People were driving across private property. The private property owner chose to protect their financial investment. Just like many of us in this room do, we protect our financial investments, and that's what Brittlebush did. So those are technical components that actually we at the staff level have been dealing with for 32 years in this community because they exist everywhere. Neighbors block off roads. Fire department has to go out and have conversations with them. Town council has adopted numerous different policies to help in terms of being able to eliminate those impediments when they are created. So the town's been dealing with these issues for years. I don't agree with the statement at all that the individual was blown off by community development staff. We never blow anybody off. We provide excellent customer service. Do we provide answers that people don't like to hear? Every day we do, just like I am this evening. We deliver bad news, and sometimes those technical issues, it's bad news. But did staff blow off the individual who was making comments this evening? Absolutely not. We never do that, nor is that allowed. We'll be coming back to the council with those overarching policy issues in terms of how is it possible to address major arterial dirt road maintenance, both at a technical level and a financial level. And then I'll just leave it with one final comment. The county doesn't provide dirt road maintenance. County Office of Special Districts provides dirt road maintenance. Why do they do that? Because state law gives the county special provisions that they don't provide to cities. So you'll find when we come back to you and present to you these issues, does 29 Palms maintain dirt roads? No. Apple Valley, Hesperia, Victorville, Adelanto, no, they do not. Because there are many, many technical issues that create problems in dirt road neighborhoods. So that's the program we're going to be returning to the council with. There's been an enormous amount of research that was done after incorporation. Come back, present that information, as well as answering the questions that the council has. It's a difficult issue when you have the neighborhoods that we do in this community that are served by dirt roads. One of the things that we have done to try and advise property owners is in the development code adopted in 2014. When you come in and apply for a new single-family home, we ask you to identify legal access to your property. Many, many, many homeowners cannot identify legal access to their property in these dirt road neighborhoods. So they sign an agreement, an acknowledgement that becomes a permanent record in the building permit folder that they understand as they're building their home, they were not able to identify legal access to their property. This occurs in many San Bernardino County jurisdictions where the county allowed subdivisions to occur without the infrastructure being built. There's nothing unique about Yucca Valley. This exists in all high desert cities in San Bernardino County. Yucca Valley is no different. I think that's probably enough. It's a very complex issue. But we'll be helping the council walk through those issues as you address the policy issues that you'd like to see addressed.
Shane, I talked to a surveyor, and he does work for, I forget which city it was, but acquiring right-of-ways and easements and so forth. You know, when we talk about a major dirt road, and perhaps we decide we want to try to maintain one of those main arterials that are dirt, acquiring the easement takes a survey. It takes a lot of expense, correct, to identify exactly where the easement is. But he had mentioned, and maybe he's incorrect, but he had mentioned it was part of that city's policy or whatever that they would pay those expenses in getting the right-of-ways, as long as the person signed off that they're going to willingly give up a right-of-way, even giving up a right-of-way with no guarantee of it being maintained. They were willing to do so, but it didn't go on that particular property owner to pay the surveying fees. Is that a policy that we could look into, perhaps?
Absolutely, and as a matter of practice today, your development code requires dedication of right-of-way for things that require building permits. So as part of staff's evaluation, if their frontage needs to have a dedication, they fill out the form. We do not charge for plan checking of that form or processing of that form or recording of that form, because that easement's being granted for public use. And so not charging for that service, in my opinion, is a good thing. That gets recorded, that creates that easement for future access and utility. So absolutely, the town can always consider policies such as those.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you very much for your comments and clarification, because this is just the starting point for discussion to identify exactly those points. And I think it was brought up earlier, we have 120 miles of improved roads that we're responsible for, and only 2.5 miles of dirt road that we inherited. So yeah, that's why there's such a contrast in that model. So thank you.
Did I hear correctly that in some circumstances, the neighborhood can gather together and do things necessary to provide the easement or the things necessary to allow the roadway to be maintained by like a community group?
So we would refer to that as passing the hat, and that is by far the least expensive means in which neighborhoods can maintain their dirt roads. The neighborhood passes the hat, they hire a contractor to come in and maintain their roads as they want that level of service defined. Through
They
all
can
of
do that based on the economics of what they're willing to
absolutely.
Okay.
Mayor, we didn't mean to divert into a full conversation there on that, but it is one of your priorities, and so we just wanted to make sure that there was clarity on what it is that is in our mind of a priority of the council. So again, if there's anything else, otherwise we'll take these and move them forward into your strategic plan and return back in December with that strategic plan.
Okay. All right, very good. That is quite a list today, 21 items. So looking now, any suggestions for future agenda items from staff? For staff? No? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to public comments. So Town Council takes this time to consider your comments on items of concern which are not on the agenda. When you're called to speak, please state your name, community of residence. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. Inappropriate behavior which disrupts, disturbs, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of the meeting will result in your forfeiture of public comment. The Town Council is prohibited by state law of taking action or discussion on items not on the printed agenda. Anyone like to have any public comments? This is for anything not on the agenda you're allowed to speak on.
We have a request to speak by Susie Dick, followed by Jerry Merrick.
Okay, thank you.
Well, first off, this is my second time doing something like this, and I feel like I'm with friends. I've gotten to know so many of you. I am the Director of Communications for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints here in Yucca Valley. And I have been trying for the last 3 years to put on a creche festival, which is you set up a room about this size and you fill it full of nativities and you invite people in the community in. And I finally got permission, and I am so excited about this. We are calling it a celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ. We would like the community to be involved and to bring their nativities and share them with us because we've got a big room and we don't know that many people. So it would be really nice to have that. And we'd also like the community to come and visit us. This is just an open house. We're going to have it decorated as much as we possibly can. We're having, it's a room that's kind of this size, and then there's doors that open this way, and then that's our chapel. And in our chapel, every half hour, we're going to have music and live music. And I've got 14 people that said that they would come every half hour and entertain us. So I was really excited about that. And one of them happens to be my granddaughter-in-law, who's a professionally trained opera singer. And so she's coming from San Diego, spending the night, and going to share her talent with us as well. So I still got a couple minutes, so I'll go ahead and tell you what we're going to bring you in through the front door. We're hopefully going to have a live nativity in the hallway, and we've got these adorable little shepherds that will have everything roped off so that nobody can touch the nativities, and it also leads the path. And as you go through past the live nativity, you go into what we call the cultural hall, and we'll have nativities all around the outside and the middle. If you go off to the right, you can go and have a cookie and some water, and then you come back in and you go back around, and if you have children, because we want children, we want them to come. We have a special little area where they can actually handle nativity scenes, where they can color pictures, where they can watch a video about the birth of Jesus Christ, and then as they leave, they get a candy cane. So that's about it. But we want everybody to feel like they're invited. And and it's very casual. It starts at 10 o'clock in the morning, goes till 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and we did that specifically so that the elderly people who can't drive at night have a place to come. And we just thought it'd be a great place and a time for families to come and enjoy Christmas. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us tonight and sharing.
Okay, thank you.
Next, we have Jerry Merrick.
Hi, Jerry.
Once again, when I went to the Safety and Planning Commission about the roads, I contacted them 3 times. I'm sorry, sir, you don't think I was blown off, but I called twice and I walked in once, asked to be contacted with it. I explained the situation and asked to be contacted with an answer of what was going on. Never received a call. No communication at all. I went in a 4th time and complained a week, and that's when they told me that they didn't care if emergency vehicles could get to my house. They did not care if that road was closed. A week later, I got a notice that there was I got a notice of a citation for building carports without a permit. I had no idea you needed a building permit to build a carport. I'm from Idaho. You don't need one there. I had California company build them, made out of steel, tried to do everything correctly. Apparently, there's an easement on all 4 sides of my property, and they're built in the easements. Not close to the property line, but in those easements, and now they're going to tell me they have to tear them down. I had to ask a direct question to get them to tell me that they're not going to okay the project, but they finally told me that they wouldn't okay the project. But where the carports were built would have been used for parking for decades. Already level, already graded, and they're bare. There was no plans to be removed. They sat on 15 posts. I could take the tops off the posts, leave the posts in the ground and use them for a fence, and still use it for parking, and it would be okay. It makes no sense to me. Why should I have to take the tops off those carports for areas that are going to be used for parking anyway? And I understand this is just a kind of a pissing contest, but I mean, it's an established neighborhood, houses on all the lots around me, not in anyone's way. Next door, there's a junkyard. I mean, I can't say any other way. There's over a dozen defunct cars. There's a shack built on every corner. There's junk piled up. Have not said a word to these people. But my brand new carports, I get a notice on. And it just happens to come the day after I go, or the week after I go in and complain about not getting service. Now, I'm sorry, but I'm not sure you want a department that you have to go in 4 times to get an answer for. I'm not sure you want a safety department that's going to tell you they don't care if emergency vehicles can get to your house. And I'm not sure you want a department that's going to weaponize their jobs to be vindictive towards the citizens of the community. It's very frustrating. I'm here for help.
I see you're upset.
But I'll be back.
And there's other times to talk, so yeah, appreciate you taking the time to
Very
do it.
frustrated. I would like some help.
Appreciate you being here. Any other public comments this evening? Anyone online? Nothing? Okay. With that, we'll move into staff reports and comments.
It's hours late, so unless staff has something urgent, yeah, Sue, I see you're ready to jump up, so come on up. Let's keep it minimal.
I'll be like an auctioneer.
Okay.
Rattle through it. So we have our High Nature Museum and Rec Department hosted the Halloween Spooktacular. I am not kidding, 876 wristbands issued, over 1,300 attendees, 95 kids in that costume contest. Amazing. Super popular senior center Halloween party with over 128 people. Place was packed. It was great. Curtis went over there, watched them dance. So this weekend, 5th annual Yucca Valley Film Festival starts this Friday night. So I want to make sure that everyone, that I mention it to everyone. We've got on the 10th, the festival kickoff, red carpet, art openings, screenings. On Saturday, documentaries, great kids program, masterclass by Rosanna Arquette, no joke. Final day, we got the panel and the roundtable, screenings, a harp concert, and awards, all of that. Also like to invite the public to view our activities and events guide online, because for the holidays, we have the Letters to Santa that is now open. We have the tree lighting ceremony on November 28th, and our holiday celebration on December 2nd with Santa Visits, Holiday Craft Fair, which is already sold out, the snow play day, which we are doubling the snow, and the hot cocoa and cookies by the Youth Commission. And I don't know, but that food scrap demonstration sounds like it might be compelling, might make a good event. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you, that was very fast.
I don't
and
think we have anything else, Mayor, aside from that we know the public is chomping at the bit to get at the new Essig Dog Park, the rehabilitated dog park. It looks beautiful. We know that. We're just doing some final touches. Our goal is to get the opening done before Thanksgiving and get it out there so that before the holidays, people can enjoy it. So we will put that out on all of our social media platforms once we have that date and time identified. But that's our goal.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm just as excited as anyone else to get back out there with our dogs and enjoy the park. So I realize there's frustration out there, but there's many of us dog lovers that are that. So right now it's mayor and council member reports and comments. I'll go ahead and start off since I'm talking already. I want to welcome our 3 new employees that we have here. Najee, of course, and Justin and William, thank you very much for joining our team. I appreciate it very much. I'll move on now to Councilmember Abel. Nothing to say. Councilmember Droz?
Just want to add to Sue about going to the film festival this weekend. I will be there as much as I can, so I encourage everyone to go. And remember, everything there is free.
Councilmember School?
I
Well,
think it's all
maybe
been
not-
said.
oh.
Good night.
Council and Mayor Pro Tem.
Also want to encourage everybody to attend the film festival. Welcome to our new employees, and just welcome to the crew. It's going to be a good, big family. It's a great place to be.
Just one announcement, and then we'll be off to closed session. So the next regular meeting will be, Yucca Valley Town Council will be held on Tuesday, November 21st, 6 p.m. right here in the Yucca Valley Community Center room. And we'll be closing to enter into closed session. We have 2 items on the agenda. One will be Town Council meeting in closed session pursuant to the provisions of Government Code regarding public employee performance evaluation. One will be on the town attorney, and second item it will be with town manager. This time we'll close out and we'll report out of closed session of any reportable items. With that, meeting is adjourned.